like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. Division really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Much love to the fam. Appreciate you guys chilling with me on this Friday stream. We up in this thing. Shout out to the fam. Late edition, we up in this thing nonetheless, man. Good to see y'all, man. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate you. And this one, Saints inked several of the draft picks and more on the way. And we talked about this in the previous stream. We knew that that was a timeline. You're seeing a lot of the players from other teams getting inked, and I was like, it's a matter of time before the Saints sprinkle some game down on us about these guys. They got several of their draft picks signed and a couple of guys left to be signed, so that'll be pretty cool. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this episode of the show. Appreciate you kindly. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody in the stream. We got, I got a poll up there for the family members. Y'all can feel free as y'all chime in the room to kind of answer the poll and let me know how you guys feel about the schedule show we did yesterday, kind of breaking down the schedule and looking at what we need to do to handle the business. So what, in terms of the schedule looks very good, but I always caution, like, some of these games, we always have some of these games are trap games, and, it'll be interesting to see just how it all shaped and goes moving forward. So anyway, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all. Good to see y'all in the stream. Much love, everybody. Yeah, Justin, shout out to you, fam. Good to see you. Appreciate you, sir. Brother Torrey, Devon in this thing. Appreciate you. Slade, good to see y'all. Torrey, brother Torrey, shout out to you. Brother Gundam, KB, Elite, good to see you. Bronze, good to see you, fam. Appreciate you as well. Thank y'all for being up in this thing, man. Much love to the fam. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all. So with that being said, fam, we're going to get ready to kind of roll. As you can see in the chat, there's a link pinned to the top of the chat, which basically kind of, I guess, gives the family members an opportunity to kind of chime in and let us know how they feel. Shout out to Joe, liking the stream. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you, brother Joe, for that. Much love. Also, man, like I said, if you won't pop in on today's stream, I am opening up the phone lines for family members. It won't be a very long show today, but I am opening up the phone lines for family members to chime in and give their analysis and thoughts of it's a lot of stuff to cover that we have covered this past week. The draft picks, the schedule, all this stuff going on. And of course, the minicamp is here as well. So shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this thing. Gundam says, Big Q, look good, fam. Shout out to you. Thank you, brother Gundam. Much love. Brother Quavatus is in this thing as well. AJ, shout out to you as well. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. The sports car, I'm gonna go home, bro. We go hard, bro. Shout out to my brother Black Suede, who threw it down, man, and he hooked it up. So shout out to him, long time friend. All right, so anyway, shout out to the family. Y'all want to get on the stream, y'all, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. You guys can feel free to pop on in this thing and let me know how you feel as we about to get going and rolling in the stream. And I just, this is a reaction stream pretty much. So let's kind of cover some of the news. Give me a chance to kind of share my screen right here, as you can see some of the moves that the Saints are making as we go over some of the Saints inking. I thought this was real funny right here. A guy talking to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and got him upset with him. Oh, Chauncey didn't like that. Didn't like that commentary, man. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, the rookie minicamp is underway down there. Day one, the first practice, basically. Just getting to know some of the guys that's there, chiming in a lot of the new guys. As you can see, Jake Hayner in his helmet, number 14, he's rocking it. Frost is the other quarterback they brought in here, and several other of the rookies before we get into that. But it was pretty cool to see that type of thing happen as the Saints kind of inked all their people. But this is just a couple of just a look at some of the guys right now at the rookie minicamp that's provided by the photographer Michael Aber, and he kind of showed some of the guys down there at camp and what they're looking like. So pretty cool seeing some of these guys kind of getting in the uniform for the Saints as the Saints kind of tooling up, man. Getting ready for the season, bro. Definitely getting ready, bringing in some talent, man, and getting ready to see what we can do here and make another run at this thing. The NFC South is definitely wide open. It's a wide open division. The Saints are poised, to be honest with you, to take it. They are. Tom Brady, we could have took it last year. If we'd have stopped fooling around, we would have took it last year. But this year, with this schedule and the talent the Saints have, should be no problems on it. We ain't gonna say problems, but it should be a real low degree of difficulty in terms of the Saints if they can handle the business and stay focused. That's the big part. I know the talent will be there. It's just a matter of just staying focused and handling the business. There go Nick Anderson right there, Tulane linebacker. 5'11", short and stocky, but could play, man. So it'll be cool seeing some of these guys come on the team and handle the business. You can see most of these guys in their unis getting ready to make it happen. You see the lady bringing the Gatorade there. She's a very pivotal part of it. They're thirsty to death. All right, so yeah, this is a couple of guys here. They're seeing them guys, man. A lot of these rookies, man, trying to make an impact to the team. Pretty cool, man. It's time, man. It's time to get it going, man. It's time. There go Isaiah Foskey. Last time somebody that was worth anything were number 55, wasn't it Mark Fields? Double nickel. Who was the best double nickel who wore number 55 for the Saints? Who y'all think, man? Was it Mark Fields? And this is Shaq Davis, man. This cat, his name is Shaq Davis. As you can see, long wide receiver, 6'5", 200-plus pounds, great speed. Shaq Davis has arrived. He's touchdown in the building, so it'd be good to see some of these guys and what they can do. Is they just got them fitted up. That's pretty much what's going on right here. Got them just got them fitted up and got used to being in the uniform. Yeah, there you go. Just a couple of some looks here. There go A.T. Perry right there with number 17 on and a few other players. So good to see the guys in the uniform. And congratulations to our newest guys that got inked. There as well as you can see some of the assistant coaches right there. Yeah, another wide receiver there. So, I mean, yeah, the Saints, man, getting ready, man. Getting ready, man. We are getting ready, man. We still got a little ways to go. But we getting closer and closer, closer and closer, closer and closer. So, yeah, good seeing these youngsters, man. Good seeing the youngsters getting ready. There go Big Nick Seldaveri right there. And the Saints just doing it. So, yeah, just take it. There go old what's his face right there? Doing his thing, getting ready to talk. I don't know if you ever heard him talk, man, but he's a pretty animated old character, man. He's definitely a football coach, no doubt about it. Spent most of his life yelling at people. Got that loud, obnoxious voice, but Yeah, but he's fun and animated cat to listen to, man. So he'll be our new defensive line coach. Yeah, these are all the new cats here, all the new players. Thompson, the running back. It begins, fam. It begins. It begins. And I'm not gonna go through every last one of them, but yeah, we're just showing you, what's going on at minicamp according to the pictures. I was reading a few things on it, so you can see Pete Carmichael right there watching Frost run a play for him. Old Pete, there go old Dennis Allen right there with his chest out, trying to get it all together. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun watching him, man. He got a hell of a team on his hands. Dennis Allen, bro, the pressure is on you, man. You gotta show up, man. You got the team, man. They spent a lot of money. There are a few more positions they need to address, though, for real. Some linebackers, another veteran linebacker, perhaps to steady the room. Another interior defensive lineman, more of a vet than I would like to have as well. So I mean, it's a few other positions that I would like to see them add to it, but they're almost there, man. They're not far off from where you would want them to be. Yeah. So yeah, they great undrafted class that they're dealing with this year. Very solid draft class. Good free agent signing period. Very positive. Just need to take everything into the on season and make it count. So, as we're showing right now to people listening to us through TC, through our Sports Coma radio, pro radio, I usually pause stop and pause, but we're showing stills right now. You can see, there you go. That's the man, Jeff Ireland for president, standing up right there. That's Mr. Kai right there, standing up there looking at the Rooks, Ireland. His fantastic work, him and the team, man, assemble some of these guys. Did the fantastic scouting, looking high and low for talent for the Saints. And Jeff Ireland continues to show up, man, every damn year with his fantastic scouting that's really helped the Saints out. That's defensive. There go our new D coordinator, Mr. Woods, right there, putting down some instruction right there. So you can see a lot of personnel, just not the players, but also coaches. We talked about on the defense and offense, but more so on the defensive side, a lot of new coaches. New defensive line coach, Grantham, we showed earlier, as he was giving some instruction. We have a whole new secondary room minus Sterling, what's his name? Sterling's there as an assistant. I think he's remained from the previous staff, but a new secondary coaches on top of the team. New defensive coordinator, new D-line coach. So, they got to get used to seeing some of these guys and getting them to figure it out. And there go Pete Carmichael, cheesing up. He always look like he just put a pair of whiskers on Pete Carmichael, man, and I just look at Pete, man, and just Pete, man, when it's Halloween come around, bro, let's just give you some mouse ears and a pair of whiskers, bro, and you good to go, bro. Straight up, man, straight up. You dialed in right there, Pete. You dialed in. All right, so anyway, you can see a lot of it. So yeah, this very promising, man, seeing the young guys there. Start day one of the rookie mini camp, and we'll get consistent reports on the mini camp. It's big, but I like to see and show the rooks, the new signings that's in with the helmet on and Saints gear on, and that's Isaiah Foskey right there. So very positive, man. Very positive for the black and gold, man. Love seeing this happen for the team. So yes, good to see the team out there trying to get it together, figure it out. Lot of talent. Yeah, I'm with you, Saints for life. He's saying that Shaq Davis could be a nice find. Shaq Davis is like the dude that a lot of people are kind of talking about, But anyway, we got some of our players inked. Kendre Miller was one of the 4 draft picks that we were able to ink. And of course, the Saints will work on the remaining guys to pick up. Jake Haener is still a guy that the Saints need to sign. And there's the first round and second round picks. They're working on that. But Kendre Miller is officially under contract. And of course, you look at Kendre Miller's, what he did last year, almost 1,400 rushing yards for TCU. He averaged over 6 yards per carry, just to remind the family members, and 17 rushing touchdowns. It just shows you how good Kendre was for TCU. 17 touchdowns for him, 17 touchdowns for Jamal Williams. 17 and 17, and these are the backups behind. I ain't gonna say backups because Jamal Williams is more of a combo guy with Alvin Kamara, but you have 17 rushing touchdowns from Kendre Miller, TCU, 17 touchdowns from Jamal Williams at Detroit. That is absolutely phenomenal. So you have 2 running backs behind Alvin that have heavy production in terms of touchdowns, man. It's just crazy, man. Very productive backs, man. Very productive backs. Glad to have the kid in. The team also was able to get big Nick Selva-DeVary there, get him inked to the deal, and then mostly as a guard. He'll play inside more than outside. But they like him at the guard position. I think this kid will get an opportunity next year to get in there and see what he can do. Because Andres Pete, I believe, this is his last season. Cesar Ruiz, I think at some point the Saints probably would try to go back to him and see if they can get a deal done with him that's more feasible to their liking. Because if not, then, you're looking at 3 offensive linemen for the Saints that'll be free agents. And that'll be a lot for the Saints to kind of go into next year to try to replenish. Like, you don't want to lose everybody. Like, we know Andrews has probably ran his course, and Nick Selva-DeVary is a guy that's brought in to replace him eventually. But Cesar Ruiz, they just didn't like the $14 million asking price that they were talking about for him. They really weren't comfortable with that asking price, so they decided to go in a different direction. So I can get that. I understand that. And like I said, and then you have James Hurst, his contract is up next year as well. So the Saints, I can see them trying to get James back because he's really a valuable swing lineman for the Saints. If injuries occur, he could play the tackle or guard position for the team, and that's a very valuable resource to have. So, I don't think we lose everybody. Of course, the Saints did also ink Mr. Jordan Howden, the safety, who, I looked at the safety room, was like, damn, we don't really need a safety, but you have several veteran players on 1-year deals. Both Jonathan Abrams and Lonnie Johnson Jr. are short-term deals, and Jordan Howden is a player that comes along, and he can be a person maybe in a year or in a couple of years that can play for you. Marcus May and Tyron's getting older, and Marcus May is a guy that missed a lot of games due to injury, 6 of them last year, and then, of course, he has the stuff with the Jets that he still has to be out for. But the Saints have a very deep safety room, and Jordan Howden he's definitely the future of what could be there at the safety position. And then, of course, we talk about skill set players. A.T. Perry, 81 catches last year for almost 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, and averaging 13.5 yards per catch for the 6'4", 200-pound A.T. Perry, the 6th-round draft pick. So the Saints did a phenomenal job in adding these guys, man, and bringing them onto the team. Really just solid all the way around for what the Saints were able to do, fam, just to be honest with you. Just solid all the way around. All right, shout out to the fam out there, man. Appreciate y'all being in the live stream. Shout out to everybody, man. All right, what's up, OG? Good to see OG in the building as well. Like I said, man, we got the lines open tonight, and it won't be a long show tonight. I know I'm starting a little later, man. I had a lot of stuff I had to do today, and I'm a father, so I gotta cook for the chillins, and the chillins and myself as well. I gotta cook, baby. But anyway, I always got time for the fam, man. If y'all want to talk about it, listen. There's a link there's pinned in the chat. Now's your opportunity to hit the link. Let me know how you feel about the series of moves. It's more like a reaction show. It's laid back tonight. It's more like a reaction show for the family members. So you get your opportunity to kind of get in and talk about what you liked about this week. What is your thoughts on the Saints? And of course, we did the schedule release show yesterday, and the schedule is very friendly, and a lot of people were saying at least 11 wins. The Saints can't win with this schedule, then, something's a problem. I just think that, it changes. Like last year, the pressure was on for the Saints to kind of move, to get Dennis Allen out of here, the pressure. But when you add $150 million quarterback, the new line will be, we got to give him time. Then, Carr and such. But listen, I think, and I've said this before about the problem with the Saints team last year was, in many cases, too much was on the defense. The Saints, I remember there was a game, y'all remind me which one it is, because some of these games were so bad, I kind of it just became, I just kind of just tossed it out, I just trashed it. But there were times when the defense gave the Saints the ball on the short field. And remember that game? Which game was that? Was that the Carolina game? Which game was that, family? Y'all remind me. Was it Tampa? When the Saints were able to get the turnover, they did it twice. In the back end of the game, gave the ball back to the offense twice. The offense couldn't do it. Matter of fact, they couldn't get the ball. They were in field goal range, but really it was like around the 40-yard, 45, yard field goal around that area. They couldn't advance the ball. And matter of fact, I think Dalton took a sack that got him out of field goal range. The defense, and they did it twice late in the game where they were able to get turnovers to put the Saints offense on the short field, and they couldn't do nothing. They were pathetic, man. They were pathetic. They couldn't do anything. They didn't have any guidance. And really the reality is that's what it looks like when you don't have a leader at the quarterback position. A dead garbage time offense is what we've seen there, because Andy Dalton didn't feel comfortable because he had to share the job with Taysom Hill. Of course, he didn't admit to that. I remember Dennis Allen came on the press conference and says, yeah, we know Andy's not comfortable sharing the role with Taysom Hill. And then Dennis Allen got off the podium. Then Andy Dalton got on there, and the reporter asked him, Dennis just said that you weren't comfortable sharing the position with Taysom Hill. He says, "Oh no, I'll share the position." No, you're not. You can see how disjointed at time he looked. Like it just looked bad. But that's how offenses look, and we had to endure that for most of all of last year. But the offense this year won't look like that. This offense, the one problem it will not have is the explosive plays. That's the stuff that scare the hell out of people. We got that. You got that. You got wide receivers all over the place. So I'm really excited to see how it all will come together. That's the big thing. So with Dennis Allen bringing in his own guys, Dennis Allen could play the big boss now. People who he gave opportunities to are here. Coach Woods and Grantham and the rest of these guys are guys that have been knowing him for a long time. It's his staff here. He's comfortable. His defensive staff here. And giving Carmichael who he wants to have, is it enough? And a very soft NFC South schedule as well. So, I was looking at it saying, man, if they can't get at least 11 games out of this, something is wrong here. But, the only way it fails is that, you have to be absolutely crazy for them not to get at least 10 or 11 wins. All of your opponents have, younger staffs. They got the disadvantage of having young people who don't know what's going on, or have a small sample size serve in Atlanta. Even though Atlanta sits and say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that." Oh, you're gonna take the pressure off. We're gonna give it to Bijan. He's gonna run it and all this kind of stuff. Well, the big question is going into the season is the Saints have to stop the running. They have to stop the run. That's number one. And it's still a lot of questions to ask, to be honest with you, moving into it. And I know the schedule is very soft. I really won't say that because I don't want to jinx it, but the schedule is very friendly for the Saints to win games. They've had a very solid free agency period and a very solid draft period. They had a very solid undrafted period, similar to last year. But, you know, the thing is now is that they should win the NFC South. And then the year after that, it'll get more and more difficult because the younger teams will improve. They are trending in the right direction. It's just the Saints are an older team. You got a 10-year veteran quarterback who done seen it all. And he's a guy that loves to throw down the field, and the Saints they got all that already. We had that already here. We just needed the guy to come in and do what he needed to do. So, I mean, I think it's just fantastic, man, at the end of the day, you know, how we going to look at that thing. But, yeah, the Saints schedule is very friendly. That damn schedule. Man, I was looking at that schedule, man. I was looking at all of those damn I was looking at all of the young teams that we played, man. It's like, man, you know, you got all of these younger teams. And at the end of the day, like, man, that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. All we have to do is do what we do. And we should, well, I ain't going to say that with Dennis Allen. He gets behind it. That might be something else. But, yeah, man, this is going to be fun watching it, man, to be honest with you. So, anyway, what you guys think about it? Let me put that like that. As you can see, the Saints schedule right there. I'm feeling pretty good about the schedule. I ain't gonna tell you no difference. The Saints should be 4-0 by end of week 4, at least 3-1. We know Tennessee is going to be a big test because you got Derrick Henry, who's still, when he's healthy, he's one of the most dangerous running backs in the league. Saints have a rebuilt defensive line, and the Tennessee Titans have a one-track mind. They're gonna try to test. They're gonna test that line out early. We're gonna test them out, and then Carolina comes in, we should be able to do something with them. I seen somebody pick Green Bay to beat the Saints in Green Bay. They must have forgot that Aaron Rodgers is not there. If anything, if I'm picking any of these games, I'm telling you straight off top, Saints beating Green Bay in Green Bay. No disrespect to Jordan Love, but another thing is the Saints, they'll be tested, you know, about stopping the run with Tennessee in week 1, and they'll be tested in several weeks following it. How good are they at containing the scrambling or moving or mobile quarterback threat? That's something that's been kind of following the Saints over the last several years. I don't know. That's something we still have to figure out. We have to figure that out, man. We got to figure that out. All right. So anyway, shout out to the fan being in here. We see B-Mail says 12-5. Yeah. A lot of people feeling pretty good about that, man. B-Mail says 12-5. All right, Debo, shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Big Q, if we don't win at least 12 games, fire TA. Oh, man. Yeah, you know what? This is a very friendly schedule. I'm looking at it. You don't get Atlanta until after the bye week twice. That was pretty smart by the schedule makers. The Detroit game later on is going to be tough. We got Minnesota right before the week. And somebody picked us to lose to Minnesota in Minnesota. And it just all depends on the Saints. Can we still rush the passer? It's just the defense. A lot of new pieces on the defense. The offense, because it's not going to be like it was last year. Like the defense was over relied upon. The offense wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. They were terribly inconsistent. This year, I'm anticipating that to totally flop. So you could see the Saints offense averaging 27, 28 points a game with all of these weapons. Because, like I said, just getting down the field and just throwing the ball consistently downfield simplifies the game. I know I'm saying that a lot, but that's what I'm drawing from. When I'm looking at, because I studied the film on Derek Carr, I studied how he operates in these offenses, like he operated with the Raiders. And I know how the Saints offense operate, and I'm saying to myself, and I'm using my imagination, and I'm putting Carr in that type of system. And I'm saying the greatest strength that he has, he's a guy that does command the huddle. He got the big money, which means he's the man, unchallenged there. So that's a bit of security there. Pete Carmichael is an agreeable person insofar as talking with him and tutoring him. I think they'll get along really well, so that's a positive. his greatest skill set he brings to the Saints outside of his leadership ability, the command that he brings to the huddle that was lacking last year is his deep ball ability, throwing the ball deep accurately. And he doesn't struggle to throw the deep ball out there. It's like it's his best throw. Like he throws that just like he would throw a check down. I mean, that sucker get back there. He has an absolute gun for an arm to put the ball out there. He puts tight spirals out there and everything. The dude just really good he has a hell of a gun for an arm. They don't give him nearly the credit he deserved throwing that goddamn ball. I mean, he put it out there. He'll drop it right down on you. So we have the people to receive that in the scheme to make that work. So it won't just be Pete Carmichael over here just doing this. You're going to have Carr involved, and they'll have a kind of a committee approach and get it together. But the pressure, we know it's on Dennis Allen, but really the position group, or I guess the out of the offense, defense, and special teams, the one that'll be leading the day is the offense. It is definitely the offense. The defense has so much going on, so many new moving pieces. It might take a little bit for the Saints defense to kind of sink in. You know, we had a very good secondary last year, but those guys are not there no more. You know, they're gone. So, you know, I don't exactly know, you know, how some of these people, Mr. Robinson's going to fit and all this kind of stuff. I really don't know. I don't know his coaching style and all this kind of stuff. I know he's a former player, but in terms of, you know, would he bring it like Coach Richard did? To a degree, if we want to talk about like when Aaron Glenn left and then we got Coach Richard here, I was like, that's an upgrade. Richard, it was the architect of the Legion of Boom in Seattle. And you've seen what he did with the Saints secondary since he been here was just stellar. You know, but would you bringing in the next guy from Richard? This is, in my opinion, is not an upgrade. It's like, I ain't gonna say a degrade, but he ain't nearly on that level, not even close. You know, so at the end of the day, we'll see exactly where this leads to. But, you know, we'll see, man, because the defense has so many new moving pieces just from a coaching perspective. All these new coaches is there. It's going to take a little bit for them to figure it out. And then the special teams unit, they have some stuff they got to work on too. Will Lutz, can he return to form, to all-pro form that he was a couple of years ago? Can we get our blocking together so we can get better, so we can flip the field on special teams and help our offense out? You know, we're going to have phenomenal return men. Can we block for them? You know, that's another thing people are not talking about. So each room has some work to do. Offense, defense, and special teams. But it will not be the defense this upcoming year that'll be leading the Saints in anywhere like it was last year. Hell no. I know Cam is there. I know DeMario's still there. Tyrann Mathieu is there. But that's not the point. The point is, if the Saints are going to have deep playoff runs and winning 10-plus games in the season and taking NFC South, it'll be through the Saints offense, not the defense. So, and I can even see the defense improving again against the run and kind of sliding a bit with the secondary until they figure out what's, you know, I can see a little slide there until they figure it out. But it'll be perfect if the Saints can average over 27 points a game from the offense, and the defense keeps teams to between 17 and 20 points a game. That's the recipe. That's where you want to go. If you can have that there, then you damn sure going to hit 10 and 11 plus wins on the season, take the NFC South. And if you can do that, you will definitely sweep a couple of these teams in the NFC South. You can sweep Carolina, or you can split with Carolina. And a lot of people say we split with Atlanta and Carolina and sweep Tampa Bay. You know, it's yet to be determined. But if you're doing that, you got your offense is scoring 27, 28. Your defense is holding people to 17, 20 points a game. You ain't going to be splitting with nobody. With that kind of number, you can be able to have 12 and 13 wins up there. You don't have to be top 3 or top 5 to get that. I mean, that's a good recipe within itself. I anticipate the Saints offense getting back to true form. Mark, shout out to you, bro. Thank you for that, says Q. Think we're writing off this Bryce guy a little too much. Did you see the rookie minicamp and how much he looks behind the lineman? Dude looks bigger Yeah. Well, no, I don't think I'm writing them off, but what I really realized about Bryce Young, because like I said, I scouted Bryce Young, and I was telling all of the people, when we seen, I was like, everybody, they didn't want Bryce Young. They wanted the kid from Texas. From Ohio State. They wanted him to be the guy, and I kept telling them, I'm like, dude, it's not. That's the other guy. Bryce Young is the guy that you want. Oh, he too small. I'm like, dude, no. I tried to tell him. I tried to tell him, and they end up drafting him anyway. But yeah, you can't get trapped up on the size with Bryce Young because he got it all. He just undersized. But just because he's undersized, he's been facing that his entire life. That's why he's so good everywhere else. It's just like with all these other quarterbacks that know, they understand it's a prototype. And he met against the prototype, and his numbers and his tape was too phenomenal for him to pass over on him. So that's why when they started studying the film, and I told you, it's a big difference between the two. A big difference between the two. In his first year, they got all these people. It's a lot of pressure on him to win. And, like I said, I said that they were everybody thirsty. Hell, we thirsty for a playoff. We want to get in the playoffs again. But I just think that it's very unique for a quarterback to take a team, and it's a unique situation because they basically surrounded him with all the talent that they need. He got running backs. You got Adam Thielen and DJ Chalk. You got all these other wide receivers. They still solidified the offensive line. They added to their defense. And they just took that pick and they dropped him right in the middle and say, here you go. But that's a lot of pressure for a young quarterback that just came out of college. Then you telling them, okay, now go and take us to the playoffs. Oh, by the way, you're the number 1 first overall quarterback in the draft on top of that. So he saddled with all of these heavy expectations. And does it weigh on him? Hell yeah, it's going to weigh on. It weigh on everybody. I mean, even though he's a really smart player, he's still a human. He's still human, and that weight can't be shunned by him or anybody. That's a tremendous pressure and burden to put on somebody that never done it before. So, and I know Frank Wright will try to teach him some principles, and if he's smart, he'll try to take some of the game that he was using at Alabama from Nick Saban and see if he can adjust and use similar plays to kind of help his learning process, kind of shorten that learning curve for him. But the Saints ain't going to be worrying about that. The Saints coming in here to knock that kid on the ground. He here to knock him around, man. Show him stuff, show him different looks, confuse him. Now, the first time in the first week 2, I don't even know if that would be Bryce Young in week 2. It could be Andy Dalton you see in week 2. But by the time you play Carolina in week 14, that would definitely be Bryce Young playing. And that's when you have to look at that him then, like somewhere in the 5, 4, 5 or 6, 7, when you get close to the, depending on how they want to handle his progression, because they always said Dalton going into it as a starter and he will have to earn and all this kind of old stuff. But, the guy is going to be a force. I just don't think I think they're going to win more games than they did last year. I just don't see them going to no playoffs with Bryce Young right away. That would be absolutely amazing. I wouldn't put it past him, mind you, because he's good. But that's still a lot to heap on a player to say, okay, here you go. Go ahead on and take us to the playoffs. Maybe I would definitely say next year that they'll be a very difficult team to contend with because he's good, man. He's good. That's why I was saying when I was pushing the Hendon Hooker thing for the Saints is because that's who you're going to be going up against. You're going to be going up against Bryce Young and then Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They know what they're doing. They stinking on purpose so they can line up for Caleb for USC next year. So you might have him over there in the NFC South. So you're going to have these talented quarterbacks in there, and you'll be having these younger quarterbacks competing with Derek Carr, and there'll be an advantage right there. The Saints just have to handle their business, man. But yeah, the Panthers are coming. I just don't think it's this year that you can. But they damn sure on the right path, man. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Yeah, I'm not gonna overlook. I scouted the kid, man. I know what he can do. All right, shout out to Debo. Thank you for your super chat, Debo. I see you, bro. It didn't pop up on the screen, bro. But Debo says, "Be Q if we don't win at least 12 games." Oh no, I did got that one. I got it. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Nola Ball says, "If we play Andy Dalton on Monday night, we're gonna blow them out." They saying that, but it could if Bryce Young plays and a lot of pressure is on Frank Wright, because they don't want to throw away games. Coming into the season, they want to do they have their minds fixated on winning, and they're not just they want to get back to the playoffs, and that's why they spent all this money. And before they even fielded the team, they got Frank Wright there, and then he just assembled a marvelous, magnificent staff of coaches, assistant coaches underneath them, and they did it the right way, man. They really did. And then they went on out there and they picked up the right players to fit the scheme. They got traded. They were very decisive, traded DJ Moore, their best wide receiver, to help them secure that first round pick from the Bears. And then they picked out the quarterback they want to set their quarterback situation straight for the next 10 plus years. So they were very decisive and bold. And yeah, you got to give the bold award to them. That's why, when you talk about talent and then you line them up and you talk about head coaches, and then you have the chessboard or the chess model, and you have Dennis Allen sitting here or there. But it's just going to be interesting to see how it goes. So, like I said, the Saints defense will have a time with this kid, because his first inclination is not to run, it's to pass. But if he can't throw the ball, he'll take off, and everything is quick. His decision making, everything is quick. But that's after. You got to remember, he has to get used to the speed of the game, and that won't happen in practice. The only way he will get better is in live game action. That's the bet, and that's not just for him. That's for Jake Hayner and any quarterback. They got to get used to the flow of the NFL game, and that's a lot of thing that hems up a lot of these players, because it's a clock in their head, and it's a timing in their head, and that timing got to move from college to the pros, and it's significantly slower in college than it is to pros. Obvious, even the best college players understand it. So that's that clock, getting used to the speed of the NFL game. That's a big part of it, and that takes time. That's going to take some games. That's going to take some live reps in the danger field, so to speak, for him to get that. But at the end of the day, while he's trying to learn that, you got a guy that been in there for 10 years. He's been doing it for 10 years. That's why I say I don't understand why they did well. I do know it's Dennis Allen. They don't believe in Dennis Allen. That's why we seeing a lot of people saying if the Saints win the NFC South, they'll give you that and then say it's a mediocre NFC South. Like, damn. Regardless if you believe it's mediocre or not, if I win this NFC South, that gives me a ticket to the playoffs. So I don't care if you think it's mediocre. Me personally, I think the NFC South is drastically better than what the hell it was last year, to be honest with you. All right, Ryan says, hold on. I was just looking at Ryan's comment, man. I just lost it just that quick, Ryan. Hold on. No, Kevin Conley says, well, Big Q, if DA want to stick his neck on the chopping board, not correcting his pitfalls with this second chance, fire him if the team started 5-5. That's unacceptable. I don't think, and I'm going to say this right now, family, the Saints are not going to fire Dennis Allen, even though we were pushing for it. Yet the signing of Derek Carr basically eliminates that. Like, what you mean? They're going to say, we got to keep Dennis with $150 million quarterback. Let's see how Dennis look. And it just bought him time. It's what it did. But what it does mean is that you can have the Saints offense will look a lot better in terms of just, it'll be funner. It'll be fun to watch it than what it was last year. Last year was awful because it was so disjointed. You'll see that they'll have several drives, 2 or 3 drives in a row where they just can't get it right. One drive, they'll spark on it. The next drive, they'll spark, and then they go back down. It was horrible. They couldn't nail the rhythm. The players didn't look, they would just look like they were just going through the motion. There was nobody commanding anything, nobody forcing people to step the hell up, and it was just awful. That won't be the case this year in the Saints offense. The Saints offense has a lot of pressure on it because the defense, man, to be honest with you, with all this turnover on the defense, man, there's a lot of questions to be asked on that defense. Can they stop a mobile quarterback threat? Because we hadn't answered that. Who's going to be the other end opposite of Cam Jordan? Can Kalen Saunders, Nate Shepard, Brian Burress, and whoever else is in the interior of the defensive line stop the run? And not, even if we're not asking for you to be a top 3, top 5 unit, could you at least be top 10? At the very least, top 15? Top 10, really. But they spent a lot of money on the interior Saints defensive line. They really do. But who's the guy opposite of Cam Jordan? So it's a lot of questions that need to be answered that can't be answered until we get all those guys in the big camp where it all counts to hash out who will be what and where and onto the team. That's the truth. So the defense, like I said, the defense, man, you're looking at it, there's a lot of turnover there. Players and coaches. So it might take a little bit for the Saints defense to kind of get together again. So when you're looking at the Saints offense, I think the Saints offense is the thing that needs to take off. And I think it'll do fine. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the Saints offense returns to like a top 10 unit in the NFL. I think this year they turn back into that because of all the things they have. They know what they're doing. I'm going to give them that. If you put the Great Saint Think Tank, we always have our thinking cap on. But if you look at what they assembled, I just showed some statistics from Kendre Miller, who had 17 rushing touchdowns. In college, he averaged over 6 yards rushing. He had over 23 times that he made tacklers miss. He has, it did the film study, how he just feels like he got like an energy bubble around him. And he's running, and then he don't even see guys, and the guy stops and let a guy go past him, then he'll pick up again, and it's just he got a complete field awareness. He's not a regular style running back. Like, you get this kid in the third round, and really, if you look at his film, he should have went like in the second round. He's a very good running back that the Saints picked up on. He run with power, speed. He's elusive. He uses the stiff arm. He's patient. Like I was showing on the show how like some guys just run over their blockers in front of him, just run into them and knock them down. He don't run into his own blockers. What he'll do is he'll stop and patiently use his blockers, to make a play, and then he'll step from out and then pick up more yardage, and he's always falling forward. It was like one play where he was surrounded by 3 dudes. I broke it down. He was surrounded by 3 dudes, and some kind of way, man, he was able to get through those guys, split the defenders. And I want to say he was like 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he needed like 8 yards to pick up a first down, right? And some kind of way, when he got through, past the offensive line, they had 3 guys that were looking right at him, and some kind of way he split the defenders and even beat the third guy, and they tackled him not before he got 3 yards beyond the first down. So it's like he did that all the time in college. He just have a natural feel for the game around him. And then what Elvin does, and then when you put the tape on and watch Jamal Williams, it's a very similar style too. But Jamal does everything fast, and violent. We know about the power game. He mentioned that, and that's what he's doing, man. The only other thing is, can Coach Curry and all these other guys put their heads together and come up and say, listen, we can be a lot more imaginative. We got Taysom Hill here. Let's put Taysom over here. Let's split Elvin out here and decoy him sometimes. Let's bring, they can, man. It's like, that's why I was saying the Saints should be like a top 10 offense again. They really could, because they're not lacking for any weapons, man. They're really not. It's upgrade in the wide receiver room. Mike Thomas, if he can stay healthy, and you heard what Coach Allen said about him, how they going to handle him, bringing him into the season. And the Saints have a lot of wide receivers around. I'm really enthused to see what Shaq Davis could do. Cody Burns could get to working with these wide receivers and get their game together, but they got a lot of talent that they can work with. Juwan Johnson, and then there's Foster Monroe's here now, and it's not too many holes on the Saints offense anymore. They have depth there. Storm Norton, they brought him in as a backup tackle. You got Nick Seldevaris there to push Landon Young, to push Kelvin Throckmorton, to push these guys last year who was on the team, and they looking to build. So there's not too many holes that's left on the offense. They really are gearing up to be a top 10 offense in the league. And a lot of people, they're going to miss on it because they don't believe in Derek Carr. But with what we got, man, that's shame on them for still thinking like that kid's still in Oakland or Las Vegas or wherever the hell they won't be. All right, shout out to the fam, man. Thank y'all for being. Hit the like button for me, fam, as we keep talking our stuff. Saints for Life says, BQ, I still believe the Saints need more help along the defensive line. I agree with you. I think so, especially nose tackle outside of Saunders. They need a veteran big man to clog the middle. All these DTs, all three techniques, also another solid defensive end. Yeah, the Saints, we talked about, like, that's why, Mozzie would have been a really good pickup for the Saints, because I think they were aiming their scope at Mozzie before Dallas ultimately decided to pull the switch and get him there. And then, but I'm not mad at Barisi's pick. I think that's a solid pick because the Saints are looking at not only like stopping the run, but I can see what they're doing, because if you look at all of the interior guys they have the ability to kind of provide a rush, a push up the middle, to kind of flush out quarterbacks with pressure in their face. And these guys are big. So you got these big, massive 6 foot, like Breezy's like 6'6", 300 plus pounds. Hopefully Passanio would play more inside. He's 6'7", 300 pounds. You got big guys like that pushing around, and they can't get to the quarterback. They'll create, put their hands up and try to deflect and bat the ball up down like Passanio did several times when he was playing. I just think that, having a traditional nose tackle is something I always talked about. I agree with you on that. I think nose tackle, we definitely need another veteran nose tackle, or, the run stuffer to be there. No doubt about it. I agree. I would definitely want another guy like that. I just heard somebody sign L. Woods, man. Somebody sign L. Woods. We need a big nose tackle that can go there. I agree with you on that. He said also another solid defensive end. Another veteran end, huh? I'm not mad at you. The more the better. All right, Ryan says, I hope Laddie's not having any lingering effects from the kidney laceration that can go full speed. Yeah, he looked pretty good. I think he'll be all right. Laddie Daddy moving into the year. I think he'll be fine. He had plenty of time to kind of heal up. Reginald says, Kamara and Miller, the new Thunder and Lightning. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I talked about that, bro. I was like, man, listen, we got a Thunder and Lightning combination. I kept saying that because I said, man, it could be the best tandem in the NFL. He has 17 rushing touchdowns last year for Detroit. And then you got Alvin Kamara. People be forgetting about Alvin Kamara, They forget how really good he is. He was severely underutilized by the Saints last year. But I don't see that this year. The Saints will have a flowing offense because there's so many people. You're not going to be able to zone in on one guy. So we got to stop Chris Olave. He's the reason why the Saints are moving. No. They're going to have, and that's what I want them to go back to. Like when we was, there were days when, in the top offensive years when the Saints would just have the game flow to whoever was open, whoever had the hot hand. The game flowed to them, and you had this guy, this game had a big game, the next guy, this game, and they could not pinpoint and lock in on the player. Like we think we got to stop Michael, and then Chris Olave will kill you. Then you got to stop Chris Olave, then Michael Thomas will kill you. If you try to pinpoint him, then Rashid Shaheed to kill you. If you try to kill him, Elvin Kamara, and Jawan Johnson, it's Taysom Hill, and that's something that they can't prepare for. It's just, they could talk about their offenses all they want, man. Ain't nobody messing with what the Saints got, man. You talk about one or two people, but they have people that they don't even know about, they don't even respect yet, and that's going to be the guys that turn them upside down. But I like that combo though, bro. I think that'll be a phenomenal combo. Elvin Kamara and Jamal Williams, man. Jamal Williams, dude, is very good, and Elvin Kamara is what he is. And you put both of them together, and they in their prime, and they both do what they do. man, they really don't understand, fam. They're not going to understand until they see it on the field. You know? Yes. Ramsey says, Q, what's up? He says, why aren't we looking back at the defensive tackle? I don't know why we're not looking at Malcolm Brown. He would be cheap. Like, it's 7 Saint players that you can go back to that can actually help you. You know, there really are. There's several Saints players that can help you if you really wanted to. Now, then again, let me just throw this out there because it could be that the Saints feel like, hey, man, we believe in Zach Bond. We believe in Zach Bond. You know, such and such. We don't want to bring in a defensive end because we believe and we want to see if Peyton Turner can turn it up. You know, we got Isaiah Foskey so he could push Peyton Turner to be better, you know? Because really, I think it's between them two. I'm not no disrespect to Carl Granderson. Because I like Granderson. I think currently he's probably better than both of those guys. But I think the game plan, if you value first-round draft picks and the usage of first-round draft picks, you would understand that the Saints will kind of see whether Peyton Turner can turn it up or not. You know, and I think that's a part of it. And I can understand that. I get that because you got to allow them a certain amount of time to see if they can prove if they were worth it or not. You know, so we got guys on the team right now with the first-round pick that perhaps shouldn't have went. I know Davenport shouldn't have went with them first. That was terrible. But at the end of the day, Peyton Turner is not Davenport, even though they call him Baby Davenport. You got to be careful what you say. But I just want the man, and what I'm understanding is that he is healthy. We just need him to stay healthy through camp, preseason, into the season, and we need him to turn it up if he's the guy. Because Foskey's going to be on his back. Foskey's going to be pushing, you know, or maybe even Granderson. So either way, we got to find out who's who, you know. We have to find out who's who. That's a lot of draft capital that, though, fam. Very lot of. Yeah, Saints like say yeah, bro, that they don't understand how good Jamal Williams is. And then you put him in the Saints wide open offense, and that's what I keep saying, wide open offense Saints. Wide open. Why? Because you got a deep ball throwing quarterback here now. A guy that effortlessly and easily gets the ball down the field. Go watch the tape. Man, I'm going to have to do something on Patreon. Because that's what I do. I'm not doing it on YouTube no more. It's too much crap. So Patreon, I do it. But yeah, you see that when he gets the ball downfield in the Saints system, it just backs them damn people up and they scared, and you work from up under. And when you can do that, if you give the Saints space, with the running backs that we have, it's not gonna be easy. It's not going to be easy for nobody to stop us. They can't crowd the line like they did last year. They're going to have to come up with something else. This offense is going to take off, man. All right, so Kevin Conley says we must prepare for injuries that will happen, especially with the wrecking machine, Pete. But I'm looking forward to see the rookie camp tomorrow, Q. Yeah, I was looking at showing some of the players that are available. I might pop in with your family on one of the streams there and kind of do a brief update. Ramsey Axis says, Q, do you have any plans on going to any of these games so season? Each one, I don't have any plans on going into the season right now, bro, because even though I'm wearing this Saints hat, you know, the truth of the matter, I had no intentions of wearing this Saints hat. But what I was hearing when I heard all that NFC South roundtable stuff, how people was talking and had all the stuff built up in their chests about how good their team was, I had to come out and represent. But I'm still great Saint think tank. You know, I'm still a great Saint think tank. You know, I had to come out and represent, but I'm still under boycott right now until I'm not spending no money with them until they show me that they can turn this around. That's what I put myself under, and they got to show me. Now, some of these moves are very positive. That is true. It's very positive. But they did this last year, and they've got to show me. They've got to show me that they can take this stuff and make it work. And I believe that the offense can be very good, but we need a complete, total team to win. And even when we have all the talent in the world, what does it look like when we running up against Bill Belichick? Can Dennis Allen outcoach Bill Belichick? You know, what do we look like against really good coaches when the time comes, you know? And that's the big part of the game. If they can win, then, then things change. But until then, I am still severely under economic boycott. But beyond that, there will be several different events sponsored by the PRO Media Network this year where we'll have some get-togethers and all that stuff going on this upcoming season. So for the Patreon and the YouTube membership family, y'all better watch out because it's about to go down, baby. So besides the game, they'll have several get-togethers. We'll be up in the building just to let you know. So even though we're not going to be there, but we're going to be somewhere, baby. Baby, we're going to be somewhere, baby. Let me tell you something. 504 Code says, Q, what do you think about Hakeem Hicks or as the ship sail? Yeah, he didn't look too good in Tampa. But, wouldn't be a bad place for him to be with the Saints because he would fit he's a massive guy. And if you could put him in with a rotation, but even though I like Malcolm Brown, I think Malcolm Brown would fit better than Hakeem Hicks was. But it'd be cool to see Hicks come back because he never really wanted to leave New Orleans. He moaned and groaned about that several years into his Chicago Bear career. He was moaning and groaning. He was upset. I remember playing an interview. Hicks was up there for like 4 years, I want to say, and he was still talking like, I didn't want to leave New Orleans, this, that, and the third. I was like, damn. He really loved New Orleans, didn't want to leave New Orleans. And I think it wouldn't be a bad thing to bring him back because he'll work for cheap. It's not going to be an expensive proposition. But if you can mix him in with a rotation with the Saints players, I don't see no problem with it. I like Hakeem Hicks. I always liked Hakeem Hicks. I thought the Saints used him wrong. They were crazy back in those days. All right, Dog says, who that? I didn't get the notification. Okay. Oh, yeah, been on now, bro, for about an hour now. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, bro. I don't know. Right now, I'm working on something, man, to kind of get everybody, because everybody keep telling me, Q, I'm not getting the notification. So I question the people, and I ask them, and they tell me, make sure you tell the people to check, to make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit all of the buttons, hit your bell and all that, because they created all that stuff to make sure if one don't get you, the other one will. So it's like several layers of notification. So if you subscribe, it's not enough. You got to hit the notification bell as well. And with the notification bell, you got to check all that stuff off, and then you get the notifications according to what they saying. But I'm working on something else, and I'm going to just be looking out for some other stuff, family. And it's for everybody I'm talking to that subscribe to the channel. That's why you hit the subscribe button. And I'm working on something else too, because I keep getting that people messaging me saying, Q, I'm not getting the notifications. It's these people's system, bro. So I don't know what to tell you, but they tell me to tell you what I just told you. You got that? So I appreciate you, bro. All right. Shout out. All right. Saints for Life said Jamal was one of the main reasons Lions went on that run last year. That's right. He ran all over the place with scoring 17 touchdowns. And they let him go. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And then they picked Detroit to beat the Saints. Somebody crazy enough to pick Detroit to beat the Saints in their own building. You crazy? If Jamal Williams is there, that's payback. That's a payback game, man. Somebody picked us to lose to the Rams. I'm like, man, how? No. This team ain't the same Ram team that they were a couple of years ago. Yeah, they got Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald, but that's, they're not even close to what they were. I ain't gonna say they're shelling themselves, but they're not as talented as they were. They weren't the juggernaut that they were. I still say, if you look at West Coast teams, I think the 49ers are better than the Rams in my book. Hell, I think the Chargers are better than the Rams in my book. So yeah, I don't see them like, oh, you going out there, you're gonna lose. Why? It's snowing out there? It ain't snowing out there. Them people got a big, beautiful ass building that they play in. That's all right. We'll go over there and stump you in there. But I get what they're saying, because they saying they got the Saints gonna fall into a trap game. So that could very well happen. Devon says they have a lot of interchangeable pieces up front. They do, bro, and that's why I'm saying I'm keeping it real. Even though I think the Saints will win some games this year, it's a lot of and I'm just being real and just cautioning the family to have like you can be optimistic, and I am optimistic about them. Generally, as a person, I'm optimistic, but I'm also a person that sees stuff and it's like, I know the talent level of this team is very good, but there are other factors that rank above talent level that's supposed to be high as well, that leads to success. Like, I know in order to be a very good team in the NFL, you have to have a talented team. Granted that. But if you don't have the proper instruction at the top of the team, you can have all the talent in the world. If you can't get them to do what you want the right way, you're going to lose to teams that are not nearly as talented as you are. I've seen that happen. We've seen that happen all the time. And then how do you keep them motivated? Like last year, we seen them finally win a couple of games back to back, right? Toward the back end of the season, which he hadn't done that before since his days with the Raiders, when he won, like, for the one time in his career, he won like 2 games back to back. And then after that, it was like win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And what that teaches me is, like, when the Saints will win one, lose one, when they'll blow a team out, then lose the next game. Win, lose, win. Like, why? What's going on here? Why we can't sustain the good energy from this week and going to next week? And what's going on here? What are we missing? And then a lot of times what it is that's not where he's strong at. So he has to put players there that are strong. That's why I said Carr is a really big part of the matrix of success on the offense, because the Saints needed a leader there, and he'll give them that. He'll work well with Carmichael, so that could be solved. That problem could be solved. But when you need a head coach to oversee and step in to make adjustments, can he do that? And that's the big question I ask. Is Dennis Allen, did he learn anything? See, that's the question people asking. What about this? What about that? My question to Dennis Allen would be, Dennis Allen, the Saints went 7-10 last year. Could you tell me 3 things that you learned from last year that'll make you a better coach this year? Had nobody asked him that. Nobody asked him that. We talk about, okay, when Rich Eisen did a really phenomenal interview, and I'm going to be posting that to Patreon. That's why I'm doing all my work over that Patreon, because I'm tired of all of the crap I got to do on this thing here. But yeah, he did a real phenomenal interview there. But that's the type of questions I'm asking him. Like, name me 3 things that you learned from last year that you can do this year where it'll improve the team in winning. What did you do? Who did you talk to? Do you have a coach on staff, on offense or defense, who you seek guidance from? That type of stuff, that's pivotal stuff, because that will give you insight on how far, because we need to know what he know, if he learned anything, because if he learned something, that can translate in wins, and we can get to the next level. But if he ain't really learning, what he need to learn, and he keep doing the same thing he did from the prior year, that's not going to end up well. It's not going to end well. So that's the type of stuff I would ask people like that, man. I need to know that. Ryan says CD Deuce is with Detroit and going to want revenge against us, and Jamal going to have a revenge game against. Yeah, if it's CD Deuce versus Jamal Williams, that's Jamal Williams all day. That's Jamal Williams all day. Jamal Williams, and that's going to be down here. He's going to be going against his former team. He's going to want to cut loose. He's going to want to run the ball, and hopefully the Saints give him an opportunity to turn it up against the Detroit Lions. So that's going to be – I would take Jamal Williams over CD Deuce any day. OG says Kevin says, what do you think, Q? What's up, OG? He said, what do you think, Q, with all we done this offseason? Will the Saints offense be a high-octane offense? If so, well, I spoke to this earlier. I think the Saints will be a top 10 offense, bro. Yes, I do. I do. I'm going to say it. I think the Saints will be a top 10 offense. I think the Saints will average 27, 28 points a game. I think they can do that. And I'm not just grasping at air. I'm looking at how Carr plays, because he's not going to change that drastically from what you've seen him in with the Raiders. And you put him in the Saints offense with what kind of weapons the Saints have. And you create all of this stuff with him throwing the ball comfortably downfield, taking shots, getting the defense to back up. We'll have all this space to operate for Jamal, for Elvin, Kendre Miller, Taysom Hill. You know, we love space. We got a lot of really athletically gifted players that can operate well in space. We got big wide receivers that can catch the ball across the middle and even go downfield and get it. That was another big thing the Saints did. They went and they made it a priority to go get big wide receivers that can catch the ball downfield and across the field. A.T. Perry, Shaq Davis is a guy they brought here. They have Brian Edwards, the former Viking. I mean, not Viking, a Raider, a former Raider and Falcon, who played with Carr with the Raiders. You got Foster Monroe there, along with Jawan Johnson. And remember, Jawan don't have to, be paired to the attached to the offensive line. You can kind of move them out. You can play both Foster Monroe and Jawan Johnson together. They two separate type of tight ends, but they both work well together. It's just the Saints are a difficult team. They're not really looking at that because they kind of enthralled about their team, and I can understand that. You got to talk your team up. But when they get down to real, there's only one team in the NFC South that's ready to win, and that's the Saints. These other teams, is going to take a little while for them to get going. It will, because they got rookie players in position that need to step up big for them to have a big year. For the Falcons, they need Bijan to come out and dominate. I know it's a little easy for the running backs, but he's a combo with Tyler Algier. We know what Smith going to do, the coach over there. He's going to try to play bully ball with us. He's going to try to hit you with the Mike Tyson punch out. They got two really stellar backs. We got three. You won't play that game? Come on. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. You got two really good running backs. We got three of them. And two of them right now in their prime. And we got one that'll take you apart. He on his way. So, for for everything they got, we got. So it's fun though. What's up, Princess? She says, what it do, Q? How you doing? Appreciate you chiming in. Much love to you. All right. Ryan says DA thought he was going to ride the coattails of our player leadership. He thought they would carry him. It didn't work last year because you need leadership at the QB position. That's why, it failed. And the defense can only do so much. You seen, like I said, several breakdowns from a defensive standpoint. There's only so much you can do with the defense. The defense was getting interceptions, turnovers, and all this kind of stuff. And the offense was just not scoring. You can't have that model and expect to have success. The offense has to take off. That's why they spent that money on Carr. They want that offense to get back to top 10 in the NFL, and it will. This offense will be a top 10 offensive unit. The Saints will average 27, 28 points a game. Look at all the people they got and how they fit. They did a really good job in finding players that fit what they want to do. And the only thing that's limiting the Saints, that's going to limit the Saints this year outside of injuries, which everybody has, is their own imagination. Their own imagination, not who we going up against, but the Saints' own imagination is what will limit them from taking this to other levels. They could very well end up being the best offense in the game. And I know that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot because you got people like Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen and some of these other fantastic people, Joey B out there. But listen, you give any quarterback the weapons that Carr has, and dude, we talk about all the weapons, and man, the running backs alone, man. You got freaking Elvin Kamara and Jamal Williams behind him. It's just, you got Chris Olave should have been like, they kind of shunned him on the rookie thing, but he was phenomenal. And I know you're looking at him to have that sophomore slump. That's why the pressure not going to be totally on Chris Olave to do it. That's why you got an Elvin or a Jamal Williams. That's why you got all these other weapons to kind of take the pressure or the burden away, so you share the ball around. It makes everybody easy. You can't just lock in on one guy. You got to try to see if you can play him straight up. So I wouldn't be surprised, man. I'm not, but I say at least they're a top 10, but I wouldn't be surprised, man, with everything that you have around. Man, they disrespecting the hell out of the Saints offense because of Dennis Allen. They don't even mention Derek Carr as a top 10 quarterback in the NFC. They'll put Justin Fields ahead of him and Daniel Jones. What? So we just going to spit on Carr. We're not going to look at all of the years. Well, he's a middle of the pack guy, Q. Yeah, middle of the pack. Not one year that Carr had on his resume where he had more interceptions than touchdowns. And that was his first year and his sophomore year. Or not sophomore, but his second year, the sophomore slump year. He was, almost a 5,000-yard year he had. It just, you look at it, you watch the tape on the kid, and then you go and look at the statistics of how the defense is. It goes to show you, man, that it was a half a team, man. It's a half a unit. So it's going to look different regardless of not what happened in Raiderland. That's going to look different in the black and gold building. Let me tell you something. Let me say that to you. All right. So anyway, shout out to the fam. Saints for Life said Ram lost a lot of players. Their O-line has to be one of the worst. Yeah, I was saying that the Rams are not who they used to be. They're not. Pammy says, I want everybody to underestimate us. Yes, indeed. But you're not going to be able to hide for long, Queen. You're not. They're going to see who you are. Now, the thing will flip. It's like the Saints offense is for real, and watch, the defense is going to have to get it together. The defense, it has issues. The defense has issues. Anytime you lose 3 starters on your defense, and I know those guys weren't, David Onyemata only looks like David Onyemata. Like if you put David Onyemata next to Malcolm Brown, you'll see him come back. But you can't have Shy Tuttle, what he did last year next to David Onyemata. And then they just single blocking Shy Tuttle and doubling David Onyemata and just mushing him out of there. And then Davenport sitting there with all of the games he played, and he got sense enough to smack people upside the helmet to get ejected in the Carolina game at the end of the year and sit up there and look crazy with a half a sack on the entire year. When you see guys like that out of the door, you like, man, good riddance. But Onyemata was the biggest piece. But the thing is, do you have an upgrade there? You have 3 new starters on the defensive line. The defensive line was pretty bad last year in terms of stopping the run. So how do you look there? We don't know. We hoping it'll be better. They can't do no worse, right? So we looking at it, we like, okay, who's the pass rusher opposite of Cam? Then once we find out who that guy is, who is the situational pass rusher, we got to figure that out. We got to figure out the interior stuff, the defensive line interior stuff, how the rotation go. We have to figure that out. That's big. And not to mention you got a new defensive line. I say this again because there's a lot of change. There's a lot of turnover on the defense. Ty Grantham is the new defensive line coach. They got to get used to his coaching style. We had Ryan Nielsen for years. They got to get used to Grantham and what he's doing and how he's doing it. We got Joe Woods here, the new defensive coordinator from Cleveland. I've listened to him talk. He's a pretty solid dude, and he's a very, very smart man. And you got a new secondary coach in Marcus Robertson, I want to say his name is, former safety. I think he used to play for the Vikings and the Cardinals. He's their former player, something like what Aaron, was when he was here, So I don't know. It's still a lot, for the defense. We got some questions on that defense, fam. We still don't have, we got to see if Zach Bourne ready because, what if Pete Werner or DeMario gets banged up, God forbid? What happens there? So we got a lot going on the defense, but we're not going to be able to hide for long. They're going to figure out the Saints is for real with Carr. It ain't going to take that long either to figure out. That first month, we're going to light them people up like a Christmas tree. Jay says it's going to be a Foskey opposite of Cam Q. Okay, it's going to be, you think Foskey over Peyton? Wouldn't be bad, man. He was super productive, man. All right. Kevin says that game you were talking about earlier, Q, was the 49ers game. 13-0 was it? Yeah, okay, that was the game. Yeah, I remember. Y'all remember that? I was like, man, I was remember because most of them games I just put them out. That ain't no need for me to remember all that, man. Because I mean, you can literally go back into the archives of the channel and see me up there. I did the play-by-play on the game, sitting up there watching it, saying, man, damn. And I just put it for me to keep that up in there, man. It's crazy. But yeah, the Saints defense got several turnovers, got the Saints offense in position, and they couldn't advance the ball. Matter of fact, they de-advanced the ball. They went backwards. Then Dalton took a sack, I think it was, that knocked them out of field goal range. It was just like, that kind of stuff is like, that's not going to happen next year. I mean, at first you would see, because the offense has to get going. The defense is going to take a while. I'm just going to be honest with you. The defense is going to take a little bit because of all of the turnover. But the offense has got to get it going, baby. But it's fun because I love to see offensive first football, black and gold model. That defensive, the strength of the team crap, that was, you got to pin down teams, and then the Saints got to score 17 points. Then the defense got to keep them at 14 points. What? No, man, enough. No, we just need to get it going, man. Get that top stuff. All right, Ryan said Olave's going to pick up right where he left off. Carr is going to be excited to play. It's so many, like I said, man, hold on, let me put the depth chart up here. It's so, when you look at it, you say it's just on paper. All right, hold on here. You look at the depth chart with what the Saints are giving, fam. It's just something else, man. It's just something else. Saints depth chart. Carr, Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendra Miller here. Starters, Chris Olave, Mike, Rashid Shaheed. Speed. Possession, man, that's a beast. You heard Dennis Allen say they're going to bring him along slowly. Make sure he's all right. So they don't need to throw him in there because the Saints have a lot of talented players that'll be coming off the bench as well. Now, y'all seen the projection show where I, took 6 wide receivers. 6 wide receivers. Well, Chris Olave, Mike Thomas, Rashid Shaheed. The other 3 wide receivers, A.T. Perry, Brian Edwards, Malik Flowers. Now, I was saying Brian Edwards because, I was giving the veteran wide receiver to the room because he played with Carr. He knows how Carr, his movements and how he plays. So it's just a good idea to have a wide receiver that's familiar. But Shaq Davis could very well be a guy that could push Edwards. But I'm going to be honest with you. I am not the least bit envious of the guy that has to pick those wide receivers. I am not. I really am not. And like I was telling family members, if you do your own 53-man roster projection, it is not an easy task to do. But I had 6, and then I think the last one was Malik Flowers, and Flowers is the return man that tied Rashid Shaheed's return stats in college out of Montana. So the Saints looking at Flowers, and he's another dude that we need to keep our eyes on. He's a return specialist extraordinaire. So the Saints done did it again. They're loaded in every room. Tight end, Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau. You see Saints have the double might see Taysom Hill out there. They got all kind of work they can do. All kind of work. So, like I said, if you got a Carr with a Kamara, with Jamal Williams, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and then you got guys like A.T. Perry and Michael Thomas and all this kind of stuff, the Saints just, from an offensive standpoint, and the same offensive line they had from last year, the offense is kind of gearing up to be a unit, fam, that actually, that will have to shoulder the weight at first until the defense can catch up. That's what it looked like. But that's pretty scary if you think about it. That's a lot of weapons the Saints are giving a Carr to have, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. All right, so anyway, fam, any quick questions for me before I get out? I got about 5 minutes and I'm gonna break out of here. Steve says, would you like to see them bring a veteran linebacker in for depth? Yes, sir, I would. I would like to see that. Very much so. And I would throw a name out there. And I've said this before. Quan Alexander should be a guy the Saints take a look at. Quan Alexander is familiar with the Saints defense. He's familiar with what Dennis Allen likes him to do. He didn't leave on any bad juju or whatever. He doesn't cost you a lot of money. He played for the Jets last year at what, $1.2 million? 1 year deal. Say, well, Q, he's always banged up. He played in 16 games last year for the Jets. And I remember, I think he started 10 of them. Played in 16 games, started 10, had 65 tackles last year. That's right, Quan Alexander did. I think that's the second highest total in his career, like single season total since his second year when he was with Tampa. So yeah, I would definitely say linebacker, man. And they do have some spots available. Hell yeah, linebacker with Quan Alexander would be a good person to bring back, man. Short learning curve, don't cost you a lot of money. That would be good. I love to have that, man. That would be a really easy one now. Nola says, honestly, Cam has carried that D-line for the past year. It's almost likely they'll be better. Kevin Conley says, I think Alante, cornerback number 2, and Adebo is a backup slot. I think he would be an excellent cover. Yeah, but I don't know about that. I don't know about them putting I hear what you're saying in theory, that you're thinking Adebo would do that. I think Dennis Allen probably would keep it like it is. But, Alante Taylor was a guy that was brought in. People say, Q, I don't think he'll play slot. Remember, Alante Taylor was drafted to replace C.D. Deuce, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He was brought in, drafted in the second round. Remember, this is a second-round draft pick. So at some point, he got to be able to get a position to be able to get in. So it is not going to be Adebo or Laddie Daddy. That's more than likely going to be Alante Taylor. They drafted him to replace Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And they know he can play either or. He can play the safety or the corner belt for him. So it's just going to be one of those positions that we have to watch out for on the defense. The slot, the nickel position, to see what happens there. But I hear what you're saying in theory, bro. Saints for Life says Saints loss against Steelers was hard. Yeah, that was awful, man. That was probably the worst loss. Hold on. I mean, it was several. I can't really even pinpoint the worst loss because truly both Tampa Bay games was wins for the Saints if they would have held on, did what they were supposed to do. The Tampa Bay game, I think it was the second one, was an utter collapse. It was laughable. The Steeler game was just ridiculous. Which was it? You would have lost to the Rams if Matt Stafford, when that got hurt, the Saints would have rolled him up like an old Cuban cigar. If he didn't got rolled up like that, because the Saints couldn't stop Cam Akers from running, and they couldn't stop, Matt Stafford from moving the ball. It was when he got hurt that it all stopped. They would have more than likely won that game. So, yeah, the Steelers game, the Saints had the Steelers. They had the Steelers. They could have beat the Steelers. That quarterback wasn't looking like worth nothing, and then they kept him around. Steelers game was awful, man. It was an awful game. Awful game. Yeah, they lost a lot of crappy games, man. We got swept by Carolina, and we were supposed to beat Carolina in both of those games. We were lined up to win both of those games and gave them back up. Yeah, it was awful, bro. It wasn't good. Yeah, the Steelers matchup was hard, man. A Falco says Quan like 20. Yeah, he's still young too. That's what I'm saying. You don't need Quan Alexander to be a starter. That's not the thing. It's like you need him to be a guy that pushes. Because you got a guy look like on the depth chart. It's not even needed to. I got it right here. If you look at what they doing right here, it's the Saints defense right here. You got Pete Werner and Demario Davis. Demario Davis has been healthy. We've been fortunate to have Demario here, where he's healthy all this time. But he's getting older. You need to find somebody, and I'm not saying Quan Alexander is that guy. I don't think Demario Davis's replacement is on this team. But Pete Werner is a guy he's tremendous. But like I've said before, he plays harder than his body could take. He has to be able to find a balance in between to play physical and smart. It's a balance there, and that's the balance that Demario Davis plays with. It's like, well, what is that balance? It's the balance of life. It's like you got to know what you can do and what you can't do. You got to play in that. They call it the zone. Like you. That's what make great players like great players. They find the area. It's like your most balanced state, and then you find a way to stay there. And like we call it playing in the zone where you can't miss a shot, or it's an energy field where you at like a supreme level in terms of your spirituality, your insight, and all these great things. You're complete. You're in a complete mind, body, and soul. You just won, and everything's going in that direction. You just flowing so much so that people that are watching you operate and play are like, damn, this guy's great, because you're literally watching him operate in that energy field. And Pete Werner does it. Cam Jordan does it. And some of the greatest players in the NFL, they do it. They learn how they find that area, and then they find a way to stay there, and they don't get hurt. Well, they get banged up. They do get banged up, but they don't get hurt enough where they can't play. Like if you watch a Pete Werner play, he can't finish out the whole season because of how he plays hard. He'll stick his helmet in there, and I love his style of play, but he got to learn not to play like that. I mean, like, that's like what we used to watch years ago when Bob Sanders played for the Colts. I love Bob Sanders. He's a little old dude, but he was way too physical, and he would crunch himself up. Troy Polamalu played like that. They had a lot of really good players that played like that, but you can't do that. You got to find that area, that balance. You got to play within that area. And until he does that, you're going to need somebody that's going to provide some depth. And Zach Bowen is a guy who the Saints haven't given up on yet. He's still sitting up on this team. And I thought they were going to trade him last year. He was able to stay around, and now they put him in the spot Caden Ellis is at. Like, well, Q, did we see Caden Ellis? Let me ask y'all that. Did y'all see Caden Ellis coming? Did y'all see him having 7 sacks and doing all the stuff he did last year? Did y'all see that coming? Seriously, let me ask y'all that, because we could say in hindsight 2020, oh yeah, Q, yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I should have put money on it. No, hold on. Did anybody see Caden Ellis doing that last year? Like before the season started, you used to like, man, Caden Ellis about to ball out. He about to take it to the next level. The truth of the matter is a lot of people didn't see that. They didn't see Caden Ellis about to do that. So I say that to say, is Zach Bowen capable of doing that? Well, Zach Bowen, from a talent standpoint, a 3rd round draft pick versus a 7th round draft pick, which Caden Ellis was. Played special teams, worked his way up, and then got an opportunity because Pete Werner was out and he got an opportunity to step in there. Can Zach Bowen do what Caden Ellis did? I don't know. That's a question. I don't have a crystal ball for that. I can't tell you that he'll do that. Now, we could talk about him being a 3-4 linebacker out of college, but that was several years ago. At some point, you got to say, okay, yeah, when you first got there, yeah, but you've been sitting here. You're in the final year of your contract. At some point, regardless of what you was doing there when you came out, you had enough time to acclimate to what they want you to do. And if you have a degree of intelligence and athleticism, you should be able to handle your business. So this is the oldest Zach Bowen we ever seen. It's a more mature Zach Bowen than we've seen up to date. Could this be the most productive Zach Bowen? Because if you put him on here last year, as you can see here, 11 sacks, but nothing really impressive on the former 3rd round draft pick. Remember, 3rd round draft pick. So the Saints like, man, this guy's a 3rd round pick. We got to see if he got it. His career statistics, 58 total tackles. And how many games did this man play? Let me see. It ain't a lot, man. 45 games, and he got 58 tackles, 0 sacks. Remember, he came out in college with, 11 sacks that year? 0 sacks. Zach Bowen never got a sack for the Saints. But 45 games, 58 tackles, 0 sacks for Mr. Zach Bowen. But he is penciled in as your 3rd linebacker. So I don't know. I don't know what Zach Bowen could do for us if he can have a Caden Ellis type thing. I don't know. But, outside of him, you got DeMarco Jackson there. He's another young guy they picked up in the 5th round. He's still very young, got a lot of potential. But the Saints are not working with a lot of experienced people here. So, yes, indeed, you would be smart to add a linebacker, a veteran linebacker here that can help out. So, yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, Bob Sanders was one of my favorite young old school players for the Colts. He was a hell of a player. It's just, man, he was just too small, and he would just disregard himself, throwing himself up in, and I can appreciate what you're doing, but you got to play smart. Like I said, I like the Demario Davis, Cam Jordan type balance, how they find the right place to play. And it's something to it because Peyton Turner can't do it. Davenport in 4 or 5 years couldn't do it. They can't find an area and not only stay there, but have that production. Like he had 8.5 sacks last year. Cam Jordan did. So I'm like, you got Davenport who has all this talent. He's athleticism, but he had a 1/2 sack, and Cam getting 8.5 sacks and he doubled. Cam rarely gets a single blocker. Majority of the time, if he's not chipped, if the guy's guarding one-on-one, he's about to get chipped by the tight end or a running back, or if he's not automatically doubled, he's always doubled. He's always doubled. And he still was able to do a lot of what he did for the Saints, taking a record down, really doubled, sometimes doubled, even tripled blocked. And he's still able to put up numbers. And I was like, okay, if he can do that, why this other guy who he giving the game to on the other side can't do what he doing? It's a science behind it, man. It really is. And the greatest people know how to play in that zone where they play in a physical game, but they don't get the injuries that stop them from week to week. You get me? They'll get nicked up and banged up, but not enough where they can't play in the next game, or they play the majority of their games. That's something else. It's not just luck involved, man. It's more than just luck to it. Seth says, I'd love the Saints to sign Zach Cunningham. Okay, that's interesting. What's up, Scout? Scout says DeMarco Jackson and Anthony Orji were highly productive in college, but like you say, young and unproven. Wouldn't mind adding, yeah, you're right, bro. Scout without clout. You're right. You got to have a veteran there, man, because like I said, it's too much of an injury history. I mean, it's screaming, the position screaming for some help there, like a veteran. Not a veteran that's coming in looking to take just a veteran. You're looking for a pushy veteran, a guy to kind of push the guy to a start. You know what I'm saying? Like the third guy there. But remember, Quine left because the Saints actually wanted to keep the real, and if we go back, we covered it when it happened at that time. The Saints actually had a discussion with Quine Alexander before he left and asked Quine to take less money and could he back up Pete Werner? And he said no, he went to the Jets. But that's because he thought he was going to get a deal, a multi-year deal with the Jets, in which he stayed out long, and he got signed late, in the free agency period for a lot cheaper than what he wanted to, because he really wanted more money than that. And the Jets gave him a 1-year prove-it deal for 1.2, whatever it was. And now, and I kind of showed a couple of shows back, I showed him his Twitter. He basically told the Jets people that he was getting ready to move on. So he already looking out the door. So, I mean, it's like, okay, come back home, come back and join us back here in the Who Dat Nation. And you got to feel a little different. But you know that at some point, based on the history of how things work, you don't want to see Pete Werner get hurt. But you got a injury-prone player somewhat. I don't want to put prone on him because I really don't want to label him like that. He just plays too physical for his body. Got to figure it out. But, you got a person that gets hurt a lot, that misses games, not like 1 or 2 games. He misses a stretch of games for you. And you got an old, aging Demario Davis. So let me tell you something. This can go bad if any one of those guys get hurt and, you don't have a competent linebacker to come in and steady the run. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that can go, because really Demario Davis is the leader of that deep. We could talk about Cam where he is, but Demario Davis is the middle linebacker, man. He the one looking at everything. Could you imagine the Saints defense if Demario Davis misses in a stretch of games? He hasn't, but he's getting older. You know, so and the Saints are really having a patient approach at that linebacker level. It's like when these other linebackers were frustrated. Like we heard Devin White demanding a trade for the Buccaneers, or you see a Deion Jones out there, or they had another linebacker, that didn't get his 5th-year option, picked up Pat Queen, and then they did the same thing the Saints did with Ruiz. They're not gonna pay him that kind of money. They just decline that and then work back and see if they can give him a deal that's more befitting of the team. You know what I'm saying? That they can both agree upon. But when you hear like Devin White, like, I don't want to be here no more. If I'm the Saints, I'm on the phone, man. I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, what's going on over there? Oh, that's all right. We're not gonna trade him. He just blowing off some steam. I'm on the phone. I'm like, whoa, hold on. What you need? What you got? I'm seriously. There's not Devin White's growing out in the field somewhere. Like, well, you could take Devin White over Pete Werner? Hell yeah, I would. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when I know I got Demario Davis on the back end of his career. You damn right I'll take Devin White. You damn right I would. You drop him right in the center of the defense, and he running the thing. He's very unique. Like over Pete Werner, Q, yes, he's better than Pete Werner. That's easy. That's light work. Pete got to figure it out. Pete got a lot of potential, and I like Pete Werner. He just got to figure it out, man. You got to get in that zone. But yeah, they really patient with that linebacker position. I'm like, man, that could turn out to be very bad, man, if they don't look at the right. And see, the Saints are smart and kind of not smart at times. Like when Dennis Allen, he did a really bad job last year after. And this, I'm going to tell y'all this too, in the preseason. Go through the training camp in the preseason, and then guys like Kirk Merritt, who, let me just put their stuff up here, because I'm a spotlight him, because people forget. Guys like Kirk Merritt that you see right here was balling out for the Saints in preseason. He was playing wide receiver. He was playing running back for him. It was like he was doing a return game. Kirk Merritt was doing everything for him. He was doing everything for him. Then when the season came on, Dennis Allen put Kirk Merritt on the practice squad. He released him. He released him. He released Eric Davis. Y'all remember Eric Davis? They picked Eric Davis up from the Vikings. And Eric Davis reminded me of like a smaller Cam Jordan. He had this bright-eyed, bushy-tail energy that when he came in the building, he was lit up with excitement. He had that Cam energy. And I was like, this dude's going to work for us. He had that Cam energy. And he came in here, and he was during the preseason, and they had him playing linebacker, and he was a hand-to-glove fit for the Saints defense, straight up. When the preseason was over with, Dennis Allen released him and put him on the practice squad, signed him back. And I'm like, what? What's going on? And see, and now I was like, that's pretty strange right there. And I didn't like that, because I was like, man, you don't do that to guys that show up. The idea of preseason, like, it's a showcase. You're showcasing your young talent. So if the young talent show up and show out, you don't put them on the practice squad and then put Zach Bowen on the active roster when Zach Bowen missed all the time. How did Zach Bowen end up on the active roster when Zach Bowen didn't even play that much in the preseason? Or in camp, he was hurt. I'm like, what's going on? Because, in part the grade, the 3rd round draft pick, that's why it's like that has value to him. They were like, this guy's a 3rd round draft pick, They had a guy like, Wilson that came on, and that was a bad choice. And that's how we end up losing Eric Davis. Eric Davis. I think his name was Eric Davis, wasn't it, fam? Hold on here. Make sure. I think it was Eric. Wasn't it Eric Davis? I just checked the Green Bay Packers because he's sitting up on their team right now. They ain't let him go. Eric Wilson. There you go. I'm sorry. I got Eric Davis. Eric Wilson. There he is right there. See, that's the picture right there. The bushy energy that he got. This guy, he ended up with Green Bay because the Saints put him on the practice squad and Green Bay pulled him off the Saints practice squad and signed him. This guy was playing ball for the Saints last year. He was the best linebacker not named Demario Davis. The Saints cut that man, put him on the practice squad, and put Zach Bond on the damn active roster. Can't do dumb stuff like that, man. We would still have Eric Wilson on this team. We would still have him on the team, man, if it wasn't for that. But see, that's the type of stuff that I look at and it's like, that's a bad omen. You don't do that. That's dumb football thinking. When you got guys, a young talent that show up during the training camp and preseason, and then you cut them for guys that ain't doing nothing, that was not even showing up, that wasn't handling the business. You know, every year you got a Traquan Smith making this guy dropping passes in preseason, and he's still making a team. You make a mockery of it. I might as well don't even cover it if you're going to handle it that way. You know, if you got a Kirk Merritt that outperforms Traquan Smith, put Traquan Smith's ass in the street where he belong, or put him on the practice squad because he need a lot of practice. But those guys should have stayed on the team, and the Saints did a lot of craziness, man, unfortunately. And of course, I'm looking at this little sidebar information right here about the Browns. They got Zadarius Smith. I just seen that. The Browns trade for Vikings pass rusher Zadarius Smith. The Browns boasted their defense Friday, agreeing to a trade with the Vikings for 3-time Pro Bowl pass rusher Zadarius Smith, a source told ESPN, confirming NFL Network report. That's Jake Trotter. Yeah, Zadarius Smith, good player, but he can't stay healthy, man. So the Browns trying to bolster and get right. I can respect that. I can respect the Browns, what they're doing. That's interesting. Yeah, so anyway, John, what's up, John? Shout out to you, Eric Wilson. Yeah, yep, that's it. Yeah, I had to check on it, fam. Sometimes I get them mixed up. Yeah, Kevin White, exactly, bro, exactly. Kirk Merritt, and then you kept seeing Kevin White come back to the team. Traquan Smith, Kevin White, and that was Sean Payton all the way with that. Because notice Kevin White ain't nothing he ain't nowhere around here now. Matter of fact, he probably checked Denver's stuff, and he probably up there with Sean Payton in Denver. If you check their stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, shout out to my dog Hoodie. He says, great show, QI. Always, anybody you want to see the Saints sign in free agency. 11 to 13 million we got left signing out. Yeah, bro, it's a couple of people we talked about earlier today. Yeah, it's a couple of people. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Seth, I remember that. Saints have signed 2 good linebackers the last couple of years who played great, but ain't make the roster. Eric Wilson and not. Yeah, Eric Wilson actually he didn't make the active roster. You're right. He got put on the practice squad, then Green Bay took him. And Nigel Bradham, Sean Payton brought him in here, and then as fast as he signed him, he was gone. And people was asking him what was going on, and the word on the street was Nigel Bradham was pushing Payton to start, like give me opportunity to start, and that ended real fast. But shout out to Hoodie. Hoodie says anybody want? I mean, Quan Alexander, we talked about him. We need another defensive tackle. I heard like I talked about L Woods being picked up. Somebody signed L Woods. Poona Ford got picked up by somebody. So you see some of these defensive tackles get picked up, these nose tackles. They got a few guys left out there that I would love to still bring. I think the Saints are going to pick up a few guys, man. They always do that. If we get closer to training camp and all that, you're going to see them start signing a couple more veterans. But, yeah, we can use another interior defensive lineman, nose tackle in particular. I'm not mad about that. We can definitely use another linebacker, veteran linebacker, to come in here and steady the room. Definitely you can use that, and I think they'll add somebody eventually. And, that I can see them even adding, another offensive guard or inside lineman or, along with the depth that we have. So, injuries happen. Some of these guys get banged up and some guys in, some guys out. That's that little song and dance. So, yeah, it's a couple of few. people. But the Saints are in good shape. We signed 4 of our draft picks. Still have the Breesy and Isaiah Foskey to sign, and Jake Hayer. He's another. These are the 3 remaining guys, and probably in the next 5 days, the Saints are more than likely have them under contract. That didn't cost us a lot of money, and we still looking good, man. We're gonna go into the season getting some good cheap veterans to help out the club. So I wouldn't be, former Saints to come back. I wouldn't be mad. I don't know what Malcolm Brown is. Let me Google search Malcolm Brown, see what's going on with him. He might have retired on the slick. I don't know. I know he was available last year. I don't know where Malcolm Brown at and what he doing. Hold on, let me look him up, fam. Give me a second. See what the hell Malcolm Brown up to. Yeah, I don't see too much shaking from Malcolm Brown. Since the Jaguars released him last year in August, yeah, he just been out there. I don't know what's going on with him. But like I said, I wouldn't be upset if the Saints did, because he would be cheap too. He would be a really good player to bring back. You're former Saint guys that would work for cheap, like Malcolm Brown, Quan Alexander. Those guys would be perfect to bring back here. But then again, we'll see how it all goes, bro. All right, shout out to you, Hoodie. Scout says linebacker at least. Like running back though, where is a deep position? He said where it's a deep position. I've seen great ones go late in the draft, or undrafted free agents still play well. Vontez Burfict, yep. Alex Singleton, T.J. Edwards, yeah. Troy Reader, yeah. You're right, bro. Yeah. Do or die for Dennis Allen. I still say the Saints gonna protect him this year, fam. Yeah, I know, Seth. What about Deion Jones? Money? Deion Jones, what? 10, what do you want? $8 million is what he played for last year. That's why I think he's still out there. It's he got a high asking price. But the Saints won't go after a guy like that unless it's something happened where they just felt like they had to pounce on him because you had an injury, in the room. I just don't think the Saints want to use the money they got remaining to spend $7 or $8 million on them. But then again, they can the way they can set it up where they can pay him half the money or less than half the money and phantomlize the rest of the years. The Saints play funny money games. So you think about it, some of these guys you don't think they can afford because they get real creative on how they stand out these contracts. They'll have a 1-year playable deal with 3 or 4 phantom years thrown interlaced onto it, and then that once he gone, you got that money still on the team, roll up into the dead money. So I mean, the Saints are just, they can pick up people. I don't know about Clowney, Hoodie. I don't know. I think the Saints went after Clowney. I think Clowney is not a good fit for the black and gold, to be honest with you, bro. I'm just be honest with you. I don't think he's a good fit for the team. I wouldn't go after Clowney, bro. But thanks for asking. Seth says, I think we should add another vet wide receiver for training camp. Who you got in mind? What vet wide receiver you want to see? MS Fist says, DA has no excuse with this schedule to win games. He has the QB coaches. Now let's see if he can win. That's the point. It's when they ain't going to dust Dennis Allen now. Last year, they got a lot of press on him. A lot of we actually put a lot of force on him for that. But when you got Carr here and his staff, you can see probably him entrenched here for at least another couple of years. And remember, you still don't know what his contract is. They still keeping Dennis Allen's contract from you. It's not what's Dennis Allen's contract? How many years is he here? What's the details of Dennis Allen's contract as a head coach for the Saints? What's his contract? Saints haven't released it. They haven't released the particulars of Dennis Allen's contract, have they? All you get is hyperbole. They tell you it's a 4-year deal, but they don't give you any numbers. And you say, where you get that from? They don't give you nothing solid. What's your source on that? You can't go to Over the Cap. You can't go to Sport Track. You can't go to the Saints website. They'll say it's a 3-year or it's a 4-year deal, and or whatever it is, and they don't tell you the money. They don't tell you nothing. Like, why y'all doing that? Why is this contract a secret? How much are you paying them? See, and that's the type of stuff, like, with all of we know everybody's contract. What's up with Dennis Allen, and why you don't want to tell us how much you paying them? How much are you paying Dennis Allen a year? That can explain why they don't want to get rid of him. They holding that from us, and nobody's like asking them, why is Dennis Allen? What's Dennis Allen's, the particulars behind Dennis Allen's contract, Mickey? Oh, well, yeah. 2 questions I want to ask Mickey Loomis. What's Dennis Allen's contract? How many years, and what's the money on Dennis Allen's contract? And the second question would be, what's the second? Nah, I ain't gonna ask him the second question. I'm gonna keep it good for Mickey. We love Mickey, but that would be the first question. Oh, no. The second question would be, why did you put a 3rd round pick with Peyton to move him to Denver? When you didn't have to do that. You could have kept our 3rd round pick. That would be 2, because they ain't gonna ask him that. They're not gonna ask. That'll just be questions that would just fade out in obscurity. Like, why is Dennis Allen's contract private? Why can't we find out how much the contract how much are you paying him? Not approximates. We want to know specifically and directly how much money it is. How long is the deal? How long is the length of the contract? Have been enough? No. That's the thing. I don't know. Can't tell you the sum of the money. Why not? Why they keeping it a secret? Because why they didn't want to put them in the street, and why they protecting them? That'll tell a lot of stories. So hopefully we can get that information, man. Hopefully we can get that information. Seth says, Q, I like Perriman, Jarvis Landry, or Sammy Watkins, someone who can, yes, okay, help out these young wideouts besides Mike, because he's probably going to be more focused on himself coming back strong. Yeah, I can get with you on that. Jarvis Landry would be an interesting get back, but what about Brian Edwards? I know Brian Edwards is not better than some of those other guys you made mention of. But, I don't know. That ain't bad. They ain't bad suggestion. Sammy Watkins, yeah. 504 says, Q, he sent the 3rd round pick to Denver because he lost the bet to Sean. Oh, hold on now. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to answer that question, Q. Oh, hold on, Mickey. Let me ask you something, Mickey. Number one is, what's Dennis Allen's contract length? And how much money are you paying him? Well, I appreciate it. Let me tell you something. First of all, I appreciate you asking that question. That's the first time anybody's asked me that question. So shout out to you for that. And to your next question, hold on, Mickey. Hold on. You didn't answer the first question. Oh, that's just what we decided. We decided not to let that go. We're not gonna talk about Dennis's money, but we could talk about Carr's money. You talk about Carr, $150 million. Oh yeah, I hear you on that, Q. But yes, to your second question, so you're just not gonna answer the question, now, Mickey? That's to your second question. Okay, second question. Okay, why did you trade Sean Payton away with a 3rd round draft pick? Wasn't Sean Payton enough to make that go? Well, that's a great question, Q. Let me tell you something. Thank you for calling me. Thank you. Have a nice day. Well, hold on, Mickey. You didn't answer the. Hold on, Mickey. You didn't answer the damn questions, man. You done tiptoed out of here before I had a chance to get in the answers. God damn, Mickey. Oh well, I'm sorry. You asked some toughies there. I had to go eat my clam chowder and orange juice. Okay, go ahead, Mickey. Go ahead on, bro. I know it's late. Not gonna keep you up, bro. I know you got to get your sleep. I know. You'll never get them questions. I've been thinking about that the whole time. Like, why is this guy contract a secret? Because you ain't supposed to be. I'm telling you, they paying him more than what he's worth. That would explain why they protect him to keep him, man. We're gonna figure it out. It's gonna come out eventually, man. It always does. It'll come out eventually. It'll come out eventually. All right, Seth says he says, my only thing with Brian Edwards is he's still young, like 24. Besides MT, I'm pretty sure Keith Kirkwood is our second oldest receiver. and someone got to teach the young guys, I ain't sure Kirkwood is the guy. Yeah, Kirkwood ain't the same, bro. I ain't like how Kirkwood looked last year. He was dropping passes. He didn't look like the Kirkwood that we know before he went to Carolina. Keith Kirkwood was a very good wide receiver before he went to Carolina. He came back here, was dropping passes and everything. Now I was like, nah, who is this guy? But the Saints, credit to them, they did it. So yeah, I gotta agree with you, bro. I wouldn't be mad if the Saints brought in a veteran to kind of push the wide receiver run. That actually be pretty smart. I think that's not bad at all. I think that'll be pretty smart. Yeah. Yeah, I think, Dennis Allen, man. That contract the Saints gave Dennis Allen, I promise y'all, it's a lot richer than what we anticipating it is. You know, I'm telling y'all, that's why they protecting him. It'll come out eventually, you know, but we'll never know why Mickey Loomis sent the 3rd-round draft pick out there with Sean Payton when it should have been Payton for picks. And it's none of our picks, you know, but we'll never get that answer. That won't ever happen. All right, Hoodie says, Q, out of all the rookies, QB who got drafted this year, who's going to make the biggest impact this season for their team and who going to have the best career? That's a tough one, bro. They got a lot of really good quarterbacks that got picked up. I mean, you got to look at some of the guys that I guess can start right away. I mean, the top guys at the top, you look at a guy like Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, you look at them. I think eventually during the season, Ryan Tannehill's time with the Titans obviously going to be cut short, and Will Levis to get his opportunity to step in there. You know, you got golf in Detroit and people picking up, and they picking up on Hendon Hooker in Detroit, which was a solid pick. And you can see Detroit, man, fortunes changing for the better, getting Hendon Hooker there. So, but early on, bro, I think the guys that you'll see probably have some success early on will probably be CJ Stroud and really Bryce Young, because the team is kind of built, you know, out of everybody. They're actually they've given him everything. It's like having a star quarterback almost. And they were recruiting talent based on telling them the quarterback is going to be Bryce Young. You know, and they said Adam Thielen, actually, they asked him that. He said they told him who the quarterback was going to be. Before that's the question he signed with them. I was like, okay, you don't have a quarterback. Adam Thielen's going to sign with the Carolina Panthers and don't know who the quarterback's going to be. He knew. They told him before he signed with them. You know, so they got DJ Chalk, and they added these things around him, man. So they kind of setting him up to have success where other guys have to figure it out. Like you go to Houston, and they got some weapons, but they got to figure it out. They still have young people working with young people, and they got to figure it out. They still got to put some stuff together and all this kind of stuff. So, yes, if you're looking at somebody that should have success before anybody else, it's definitely CJ Stroud. Bryce Young, because of what he has around him with Carolina potentially. So I would have to go with him, and probably later on down the line, I don't know, Hendon Hooker. And, you know, I would have to revisit Hendon Hooker with Detroit and Will Levis with the Tennessee Titans, because I know that's going to be a thing before anything. So, yeah, those are two of the guys I would look at quarterback-wise. But that was a tough question there, bro. All right, Scout says, what type of leash will – he said he didn't start hot. What point will we consider options? What type of leash DA will give this year? Well, I mean, I think the Saints are going to be super, super fam. The Saints are going to be super, 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 super patient with Dennis Allen, because Dennis Allen has Carr and his staff, and I don't see them going away from. They're going to protect Dennis Allen like they did last year. You know, they're going to do it. They're going to turn the comment section on. You love to take the money, but you don't like it when the people get upset. I see how y'all game is. That's how, you know, that's the business you in. You know, they're in a people-pleasing business. You can't be mad at me or anybody that talk like me and think like me when the game is to win. We know you're not going to win every Sunday. That's not the point. We're cool with you showing up and leaving it out on the line. That's what it's about. Like you representing us the correct way. Showing up, playing hard, playing smart, giving a full effort, and laying it out every game. That's all we ask. If you win, good. If you lose, under those principles, I can live with that. But it's when you go out and have the games where you say that it was just a tough day at the office, when it wasn't just a tough day at the office. You wasn't prepared. The team wasn't prepared to play. Stuff like that just infuriates us. You know, you come up with lame excuses. Some of the players, they pop up on for the wins, but they disappear when the losses are. You know what? I'm like, dude, listen, I'm not asking you to do nothing that I ain't doing. Hell, if I got to show up for the wins and losses, at least you can show up too. You know, what kind of fair weather ass people are these? You can pop up and smile. I got 4 or 5 or 6 of them line up after the game, you know, during the press conference. But when the loss hit, you got Dennis Allen. He forced to go, so he really don't want to go. You know, and the first moment he get of an extended quiet period. All right, guys, I'm all right, guys, thank you. The first 5 seconds of silence Dennis Allen gets after a loss. All right, guys, I'm out. Thank you. What's going on? I'm sad, man. It's like, it's crazy because, you know, I'm not asking you. It's like, man, if the family members can show up for the games when you stink, the least you can come out and apologize for giving them a bad effort. And I never, that's one thing I just started really not liking about the guy. It's like, you never, of all the ugly trash losses we had last year, it was never an apology from him. And then during the worst periods of time, you've seen what kind of leadership you had in the building, what kind of leader Mickey is versus Sean Payton. And we've seen what was really going on. Last year showed you everything if you didn't know. And we point out, like, it'll be interesting to see how much of this is Sean Payton versus Mickey Loomis. And Mickey Loomis was being pushed by family members. I remember playing something where the guy was standing up there. Mickey, you gotta do something, Mickey. Mickey, you gotta do something. He killing the city. He killing the city, Mickey. You gotta do something. And Mickey was standing up there. He turned around, walked away. You got to do something, Mickey. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat if y'all remember the guy saying that to Mickey Loomis. And Mickey not doing the damn thing. So I was like, man, that's interesting. Because if you're a general manager, your job is to general manage, then you wouldn't have let an inexperienced head coach who first time being a head coach in years, and when he was doing it before, didn't do a very good job of it. You would keep him under a tight leash. There was no leash. He guided the team into the ground, if it was a plane, he ran it into a mountain. And then when they cleared up all the wreckage, they came out and they spunted with injuries. And I told y'all they was going to do it. I told y'all, I said, this is how it's going. I gave you the game plan and wrote the script, and they read it. That they came out, and I said, when they come out, they're going to blame it on injuries. And that's exactly what they did. It's not hard to tell. But they don't like me to tell you this because it's one technique that they can't use anymore. And they don't want the pressure of performing and winning. They just want to be able to, whether they win or lose, they want to bank out. That's the model. It don't work like that. You're not going to bank out on me if you're not winning. You say that's fair weather. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you're not, you have to prove it. You got to prove it to the people that you're about winning and about handling business. You got to prove it. Who's going to sit up here and man, let me tell y'all something, man. Ain't not one of y'all out there listening to this broadcast is an immortal. Not one of y'all out here done lived 200 years and you say, Q, I got all the time in the world. I know I don't have time to sit up there. I ain't got time to sit up here and listen to nobody set up no crap time football. I'm sorry. So that's why people be upset. They're like, man, I could have done something better with my Sunday. Up here watching Dennis Allen make excuses about this, that, and the third. So it's like they don't like that. They just want to bank out, win, lose, or draw, and go home. That's what they want to do. You're not going to do that here. I'm sorry. You might have got used to that in the past where you've been banking out for years. But it's a toll to pay. If I got to pay a toll, you going to pay the toll. If you ain't better than me, you ain't nothing without me. And that's how I talk to them, and that's how I tell you, because they got it in their head that they're better than you, or that they got the power and you don't. I keep telling you that if you keep your money in your pocket, they'll study all of them. That's how it is. If you keep your power and you tell them that money in your pocket and tell them, listen, if you don't get the winning, you don't get to handle the business, this stays in my pocket. Them people gonna bend over backwards to make it happen, because that's what they want. They want the paper. I'll tell you that. That's how the model, the money model set up. But you're not gonna bank off me and give me some inferior product. Who the hell you think I am, man? Not a dumb consumer, man. You gonna do what you're supposed to do. You gonna represent it. You ain't getting this paper. That's the bottom line. That's how I feel about it. I'm not no dumbass that's just gonna keep emptying all my hard-earned money into your pockets, and you ain't giving me nothing for my money but frustration. The players walk away, they happy. You the one sitting up at the end of the year pissed off about how the team ended. You the one frustrated with headaches and stuff, punching your own televisions and shit. You think they care about that? Hell, Cam Jordan just came back from Spain, I think. He just came back from Spain. Come on now, you talk about some shit that happened in some cold game somewhere. I'm like, dude, that was months ago. Ain't worrying about nothing. You worrying about it. I'm telling you, man, they bank out. The whole it's designed where they bank out, and you take all of the emotional baggage. You get worn on. You get the gray hair and the wrinkles and everything else. They don't take none of that home. They get that check whether they win, lose, or draw, baby. They happy, smiling to the bank, and your ass is mad. That's what I'm saying. I like, the hell with that. No. Oh, no. See, and that's I don't push that on y'all, man. I don't come out and tell y'all, to think like that, because that's not how you supposed to think, man. I'm an empowered person, man. So I'm always tell you things from an empowered perspective. I'm gonna tell you, if you operate in that model, if you have that thought process and that's your team and it is your team, then in my model, in my mind, I would be like, yeah, it's an investment. But if I'm paying for this, I'm gonna get a return on my investment. I'm gonna get a return. I'm gonna get a ROI. I'm gonna get some ROI on mine. If it was set up right, man, everybody could have a great day. We can all eat well if the model was set up right. But it's a predatory model, man, built on dumbness and foolishness and tricking you into thinking somewhere else. But shit, that's not me, man. And they don't like me to talk like that because I'm busting that shit up, and it deserve to be bust up because y'all been doing it for years. It's time to change it. So in essence, what I'm saying is I'm on my Glenn Jones stuff right now. You got to show me. We got all these draft picks and we doing a stellar job. But remember, I'm a person that remembers history. I remember we did similar things last year. We had a decent draft last year. We had a decent free agency period last year. We did some positive things after the draft. After the draft, we signed both Jarvis Landry and Tyrann Mathieu after the draft. Within days of each other. Took it into the preseason, did some stuff. And then it all went away fast. And then the excuses came out. So, like I said, they're going to have to show me, man. I'm on my show me game, man. I'm on my show me game because they ain't playing it fair. They ain't playing it straight, and they're not transparent. They're not playing it transparent. So I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like that they are. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and laying the game out, baby. That's how I go. These work. Let me tell you something. Anyway, I'm going to get on out on that, man. And and on that, hold on, let's see. Let me shout out the fam. Appreciate y'all chiming in, man. It's after 12. I really didn't intend on being on here for more than an hour, and it's 2.5 hour show almost. I'd like to thank all y'all. What y'all doing up this late, man? It's after 12 o'clock. What's going on? Y'all drinking coffee somewhere? What y'all doing, man? All these folk up in here. What y'all doing, man? Y'all must have drunk some coffee today, huh? Y'all took a nap before. Y'all must have took a nap. But anyway, with that being said, I'm going to get out on that, man. I appreciate you. I'm going to prop up tomorrow, fam. We're going to cover some minicamp news. A quick show, not much shaking or baking. We're going to pop up there tomorrow and drop some game with the family. So listen, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for tuning in. Please feel free to hit the like button. Yeah, Jason saying ain't no such thing. Halfway crooks, Q. I know. Hey, man, bro, they are... Man, it's a lot, bro. It's the model it's a cold-blooded model, man. It really is. Like it's designed where they bank out and you get all of the blame. You like not all of the stress that comes with it. The upsetness, like OG be heated. OG be upset. You watch some of them live streams I did. You can go back and watch them. I be heated in there. I'm like, man. You know, and then you be like, how they not mad? They ain't mad because they got paid. It's hard for me to get mad if I'm getting paid the same amount of money if I win or lose. So my demeanor would be the same. The only way I'll get upset is if I lose and I get less money, which what it should be. All right. Thank you, Scout. Appreciate that, bro. Great as always. Thank you, sir, for that. But I was like, man, the best way to fix this, for real, man, is having like some of like a sliding scale. Like you win, you get more. If you lose, you get less. You get what I'm saying? As opposed to them like you paying them the same amount, whether a win or lose. What's the motivation in that? That's why you be seeing most of them. They just be like, yeah. Well, what happened? Why did you drop the ball? You know, and then, well, this. Well, credit to the other team. They just played really well today. Just credit them. I don't want to take nothing away from them. Thank you, Hoodie. Shout out to you, bro. We don't want to take nothing away from such and such. They played a real great game today. They came in, they just outplayed us. We just wasn't focused. Then they turn into French people. They say we wasn't focused. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. And that's we just have to go back and look at the film and come back the next game and we just have to improve, Well, yeah, I hear you on that, sir. But y'all were kind of joking and playing after the game, you know what I'm saying? What was all that about? Why were you playing Lil Boosie in the locker room after the loss? Well, somebody had the CD player or the iPod or whatever set on automatic. So as soon as the first three people step in there, the disco lights go on and Lil Boosie started playing. So, that's why you heard that. But I'm pretty sure if you looked around, you didn't see nobody was dancing or rapping or whatever, or saying wipe me down. They weren't doing any of that. Actually, there were several players that was actually wiping themselves down, and you were the one that was wiping several other players down. Well, oh yeah. We just try to stay positive after a loss, and we do what we're supposed to do. But our guy, but we're going to come back tomorrow and look at the tape. We're going to practice hard and give a better effort. Come up next week. It's just that type of stuff, man. That generic response to everything, man. So why you was in there wiping yourself down after the loss? Well, we trying to stay positive, keep our body. Come on, man. Hoodie says he says it's because we family Q. We do a sleeping podcast with you. He says 24-hour stream. That's right, bro. We gonna be there with you. The Godfather Saints podcast on YouTube. Shout out to you, Hoodie. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, man, it's like, why? So, sir, why you was wiping yourself down on, after that 13-0 loss to the San Francisco 49ers, and then they hit you with that little spiel there, and it's like I've heard that like I don't know how many times. You'll hear the guys. Well, first of all, thanks. You got to give a shout out to the San Francisco 49ers for handling the business. they played really well today. You know, we wanted to do several plays. It just didn't work out. You know, it was just not our day out there today. You know, as a team, we just have to stay together. You know, the guys fighting together. It just wasn't, you know, the other team just played better, and credit them. And we just have to come back next time and give a better effort. That's just. Yeah, then another guy asks the question, well, you know, for future reference to not give mixed messages, could you kind of get the tech guy in there to kind of turn off the sensors so Wipe Me Down don't come in, you know, that in the disco ball and the lights start flashing in the smoke, because you guys got smoke in your locker room that it doesn't come on after a loss. Yeah, we talked to him about that, you know, and and we'll make sure we, you know, give him that information so that he can make sure that Club Saint is, that the room is not there. But that's the thing. Like, it's just like, man, it's just annoying, man. But the thing is, like, it's a sliding scale. Like, if you lose, you get less money. If you win, you get more money. That would make the game a lot better. So it'll be more competitive. Guys will step up and do what they're supposed to do. Because we can't expect everybody to be a Cam Jordan or Mario Davis. What's the incentive for a guy to play harder if he's getting paid the same amount of money, whether he wins or loses? You know, and then it is what it is. You know, I don't want to see no Wipe Me Down, man. And you know, after come on, man. I think the Club Saint stuff need to go. Period, man. You know. Well, at least celebrate wins here, Q. I don't know about you, what you talking about. It's hard to win in the NFL. No, it's not. If you're good, you're gonna win. You know. It's hard to win in the NFL. I don't want no coach of my team that's telling me it's hard to win in the NFL. You are the wrong coach for my club. No. Ain't no way in the world you can walk around telling people it's hard to win in the NFL. What kind of coach is you, man? I would never admit that. It's hard to win in the NFL. You know that, right, Q? Oh, well, really? Is it hard for Bill Belichick how he did it? If it's hard for Sean Payton, all the wins that he accumulated? You know, if you do the right shit, you're going to win some games, right? I mean, yeah. Maybe it's hard for you to win games if the Miami Dolphins or the New York Jets or the Cleveland Browns. You can't really say that about the Browns of recent. They've been trying to win some games. So, I mean, no, man, you do the right stuff, and everybody know that. It's not several different 100 books out there how to win, you know, a certain different ways. No, it's a way to win, and people have different little lanes that come up off that seed. So, I mean, you got guys that if you stick to fundamentals and you are disciplined and you execute, you're going to win. Because it's that particular, that straight line concept and those thinking, those principles is what get you to beat the team that you're going up against. Like, and most of the times, like, if you just stay on code, you don't turn the ball over, it comes to like that each team has a discipline level. Like, and if the Saints discipline level on their team is greater than the Atlanta Falcons or the Carolina Panthers discipline level, because you know most of the times they're going to give the ball to you. They're going to turn the ball over. They're going to make a mistake. They're going to throw an interception. They're going to have a fumble. They're going to give you opportunities to win. You just have to be in position to capitalize, you know? And when you get the opportunities, you don't blow them. So it's not like, oh, it's hard to, no. You're not playing perfect people. They will give you turnovers. They will make mistakes. They help you win. You just got to take them and make them work. And you can't then be what they are. You can't turn the ball over and play with error field football and non-fundamental football. You know, you can't do that, you know. So it's, you know, I don't want nobody running up on my team talking about it's hard to win games in the NFL. You get your tail up out of here. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. They got people, them people got books. All the people got books. Like Patina, what's his name? Coach K. Coach K got like several books of how to win. You know, all these and he studied, guess who he studied? Wooden. Remember Wooden from UCLA won all those championships? You know, they all got books. They all have books because they all studied from where they got. You go back and look at Coach Popovich and all of the great ones. They all took game from other great coaches that found out it's a system of how to win, and they took that and added it to their system, and that's how they were able to win. Popovich will tell you where he got his stuff from. Spoelstra will tell you where he got his stuff from. Some of the best coaches in the NFL, Bill Belichick, if he's honest, he'll tell you where he got his stuff from. He wasn't born with it. You know, you have to be a student of the game. And a lot of those guys are student of the game, and you'll beat a half-ass coach anytime. I mean, you have to be a student of the game. You know, I'd rather somebody that got a master's in something, if you're trying to have some surgery and they got a guy here that went to school, did all this stuff, studied up on it, than somebody that just got, you know, a lesser degree coming up out there talking about, I got you. I operate on you. Nah, man, there's levels to this, you know. Thank you, Hoodie says, Q, I'm really looking forward to seeing some real funny locker room videos after games with Cam, Jameis, Jamal, and all of them in one room together. Imagine if Ingram was still there too, would be crazy. Yeah. Ingram is, yeah, but you right though, Hoodie. Thank you for that, bro. Yeah, Cam is always a character. Always enjoy watching and listening to Cam Jordan, man. He's always a character. Love his energy. Demario Davis brings a lot of good energy too. And, you know, and of course you got Elvin Kamara. He does his thing. Jamal Williams, you can see that he got the Pokemon thing going on. You can see a little crazy. You got, you know, you can see, you know, you kind of got a little craziness in him too. He a character too. So yeah, we like these guys because they're productive. They're not bad guys, you know, they're good guys, you know, and they're productive. They do what they're supposed to do, and they're good to the community. So, you know, that's just love all the way around. All right, so anyway, fam, let me take a look at the poll right here and close the poll and see what hold on, let me see. Hold on. Okay, the poll, let's see. Damn, a lot of the family members in the poll tonight. If you didn't get an opportunity to vote, we had 143 votes on the poll. This is how many games did the Saints win this year before we close out the stream. 3 choices. You had 10 or more, 9 wins, and then 8 or less. Well, it was a great success for 10 or more. The family members said 79% of the people polled said the Saints will win 10 or more games this season. Only 12% said 9 wins, and only 9% says 8 or less. So 79% win 10 or more games wins the poll tonight. So shout out to the family members that participated on the TSC poll. 79% of the family members believe the Saints will win 10 or more games this season. So there you go. The great Saint think tank and the Who Dat Nation have spoken. All right, so with that being said, man, I'd like to thank all of you fantastic people for joining me late tonight. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all. Please feel free to hit the like button. Please feel free to share the show on your social media feed as well, and hit the notification bell as well. And we'll be back tomorrow, probably a smaller stream tomorrow to kind of recap the minicamp stuff, give a little brief update on what's going on with that as well. So please feel free to support our sponsors. That's in the description section below. Outlaw Products, also the ExpressVPN. You can get deals on either one of those products. They're there. And for all of our links to all of our other family of channels, it's also in the description section or in the link tree. All of our links to our websites, to ProTV1ONE.com and the WhoDatDaily.com, our headquarter news site, all are available there. So with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. I thank y'all. I love y'all. Y'all keep y'all heads up, fam. And I'm going to holler at y'all on the flip side. Who dat?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, fucking like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
TSC Unleashed is available on YouTube. Find TSC Unleashed for all the latest news, football, basketball, boxing, and entertainment news. We cover it all on TSC Unleashed. Every week, please feel free to subscribe to TSC Unleashed on YouTube. Cafe, that's right. Pro Cafe is your new #1 source for 24/7, 7-day-a-week lo-fi music and more. Whether you're hard at work or hard at play, let Pro Cafe be your life soundtrack. Subscribe now at Pro Cafe on YouTube. Peace. This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Sending data over an encrypted internet connection is like sending a postcard that everybody can see. When you're connected to an unencrypted network, whether that's your phone, your computer, your tablet, your TV, etc., you're sending countless of pieces of really precious data that can be seen or intercepted by all sort of parties before it reaches its intended destination. But a VPN or a virtual private network creates a secure tunnel between your device and the internet. In other words, it puts an envelope around your postcard so they can't sneak a peek at your private correspondence. The ExpressVPN protects you from spies who use your data for their own nefarious purposes. ExpressVPN prevents your ISP from seeing your private browsing activity. It also stops governments and large corporations and websites that constantly surveil you and harvest your data for their own agendas. ExpressVPN gives you unrestricted access to all parts of the internet, so you can watch shows in other countries and even get certain discounts. So to get ExpressVPN, just click the link below. When you use the Pelican Post Scan report, you get 3